Well, good morning, good afternoon, and or good evening, Smite Galeria fans. Welcome in to your Middles Division Losers Round 4 matchup here. I'm Supersonic Blur, going to be on the one side of things. Joining me to break down everything that I talk about is going to be Sparkfire. We've got Underscore and Goosedra here. A matchup that looks to be pretty good here for this, and a chance back to fight into Underworld here. And most importantly, get themselves a little bit more gems on that side of things as well. But going into this matchup already, Spark, we looked over some of the roster bracket while we were waiting for things to get set up, and you were already kind of interested about some of these players and the roles they're playing.
Yeah, some interesting changes here for Underscore. We've got Miranda's going back into the solo lane. The dog is back. Blakey going into jungle and Tedesco into mid. I'm not quite sure what to think of it. I know Miranda's does do decently well in solo. He has done it for 2 seasons now. Blakey for sure will probably also hold his own. He is UD after all. And then Tedesco in mid, which at least Printers has told me he's done good on Tiamat, but I'm very interested to see how this goes because Underscore, they are the favorites, but with Goosedra's run in his losers bracket especially, makes me wonder if maybe we've got an underdog story on our hands here.
Well, I don't know whether it's an underdog, more an undergoose, but yeah, looking across the bracket, getting knocked out in the first round, and then immediately just going through every team, including the team that 2-0'd you before. Pretty impressive look coming through from Goosedra. And Underscore, like I mentioned, they're looking to try and get another crack at Underworld here. They got knocked out in the first semi-finals matchup. Now they're looking to go ahead and go for this. But in terms of picks and bans, you mentioned that the Tiamat was something that Tedesco had played well on. Is that something that perhaps we see banned away early on, or are there just too many other good picks right now?
I mean, it would make sense, I guess, if you've got Tedesco, who is now, to my knowledge at least, more new into the mid lane, and you want to see if he's got anything else in the locker, sure, you can definitely ban it. But I think in general, there's probably other bans that you want to go for first. Yimoja definitely being one of them, Sun Wukong also very understandably. So I wonder if there's going to be more target bans here, because at least in the sort of Gooster, I think Loki is the one that you usually watch out for. As you can see already, the Anher ban as well. So yeah, I think we're going to maybe see a couple target bans. I'm wondering if Tedesco is really getting any of them, though.
That is curious and things. Now, I'll be perfectly honest, I've been moving 3,000 miles for the past 2 or so months, so I'm a little bit rusty on some of the Smite meta, but I have been seeing some things coming through, especially with that recent stuff that Smite's been doing over the Solstice. In terms of what we're looking at here, though, the Sun Wukong is a god that's been very powerful into that solo lane side of things, so always going to want to see that. Whereas you look at Goosedra, Yemoja makes a lot of sense, but then you've got Susano and Kali. Those are majority hypercarry junglers in my eyes.
I mean, it also makes sense. Blakey, as I said, is probably the most UD player out of Underscore, and him moving into the jungle now, you don't want to give him any of those hyper carry gods. And Kali can most certainly run a game like that. So I can totally understand those bans. I would have also said, especially the Susano ban, I think we would have seen even with Miranda's jungle, because that is also a favorite pick of his. Like I said, on the other side, then Agni and Anher. The Anher ban, I don't know if Anher is really all that good still, but maybe you just don't want to give Loki that chance to just run the lane. But that leaves Rat and Freya open. Rat's something I didn't expect to see.
Ratatoska is an interesting one. A little bit of flexibility. Could go the way of Shinigami if they want to run that into the solo side, but Calvin also very capable of picking that one up. The Freya, one of these weird gods, we've had this weird situation where magical ADCs are dead, they're awful, suddenly Freya's amazing if you build Conduit Gem on her. One thing we didn't point out, though, is Underscore first pick the Tiamat here for Tedesco. They really feel like Tedesco has got this Tiamat. They are in a good spot. They go ahead and grab the Geb and Achilles as well, so very strong front line here. Very defensive look from the Geb, but I'm concerned that this might just make it easier for the Freya in lane.
I mean, this Tiamat first pick makes me wonder if this is maybe actually kind of a sign of weakness, that you need to first pick this god to make sure your mid laner isn't something he likes, while Tiamat is most definitely not first pick worthy in my opinion. But maybe I'm just maybe Tedesco will just run the whole game with it. Yeah, Geb Achilles definitely not bad. Freya, actually interesting to me. I really like that god right now. She feels really good if you ward up and make sure she doesn't get ganked too much. But once she shows up in late game, she shows up like Freya always did.
And look at the gods that you mentioned. If they ward up and don't get ganked, look what you've got. You've got a Thor who could dunk in very effectively, and the Bakasura who, if they show up and get fed off of a Freya, they're going to be next to impossible to get off, especially with the support from the Geb and the Achilles. So I really like these bans coming through from Goosedra. Because it's not just a case of, oh, we ban the guy who's the best. It's, we smart ban the guy who's the best. Let's make sure that our weakest part isn't exploitable. Let's make sure that their comp can't be as efficient. If Geb wants to be effective at making sure someone can dive, let's get rid of 3 to 5 of the best dive gods available. As on the other side of things, Underscore now, frontline bans, the Huxia lane makes me wonder who they're expecting to go up against in the solo lane. Athena, not one also up there, fairly high on the support side of things, when you've got like Terra still available.
Well, the Athena ban I don't think I mind at all. It's just very simple
Okay.
and easy engage that always works with a global ultimate. So I think Athena is always good. But yeah, in terms of solo lane, I think Shinigami, from what I know, does like to go into things like Jormungandr, and that is still open, so maybe we're going to see something like that. It is still a pick that is highly valued as well, I think. But yeah, while we wait for that pick, we see a Discordia and Gooster as well. I wanted to ask, do you have any preference of who gets that Discordia passive? Because I think I do.
I mean, I'm a solo lane player. If I'm not getting the Discordia passive, then I've done something wrong. But there we're going to go ahead and see it's a tier locked in, which makes me wonder, who do you expect on Goosedra is getting that Discordia passive right now?
I mean, okay, but you definitely wanted to be on Freya. I mean, it's just a no-brainer.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I mean, you've got like the most hyper carry ADC in the game.
True.
Of course you want to have that passive on her. But I mean, especially early game, I think it'll feel better on tier if you can run his lane a little bit, because on Freya, until you have those 2 rings online, you don't really have that much pressure. You kind of have to focus all your time and effort onto clearing the wave. So early game, I would expect it to be on tier, or maybe even Discordia herself. She can also definitely hurt. But late game, I really hope for Goosedra that it goes into Freya. And we're seeing Bellona and Daji hovered on the other side.
If we're seeing those locked in on the hover, I got a question: who's going against the Freya? Is this one of those Bellona ADCs where you just run at the Freya like the whole game? Because I'm kind of here for it. Look, I like running that kind of stuff. I still remember the fun days of Season 3, Combat's Fenrir lanes, running at people. It was dumb and it was fun, and they are going to lock it in. Underscore, I got a spicy comp going here for Game 1.
I mean, I'm just like completely biased now. I love Bellona ADC. That's my jam, dude. That's Underscore goal. That's all me. No, but it's I do like it. I do wonder if Freya can still kind of avoid what Bellona does in the end, run her down anyway. Like Bellona ADC does fall off very, very hard come the 15-20 minute mark, unless I suppose you do build her like a true solo laner, and then you just go full in, which the Tiamat does actually support as well. You can just go dog mode, jump in, and do follow up on the whole dive. So maybe that's the idea of the Underscore team here. You just get a team full of frontliners. Daji as well can easily go full damage and then just not die by going onto the Paolao. So I think this is interesting. It's just a lot harder to execute for the side of Underscore. But if they do manage to do it, I think that's going to be quite spicy and interesting. I'm very interested to see it.
I like that as well. I like that you ended that with execute, because that then links perfectly to me saying they don't even have to worry about 100 to 0ing people because they've got the execute, and it's not just 1, it's up to 5. So whether or not Goosedra can use this Sobek to potentially peel them off, we'll have to see. It does also make me wonder if this is potentially like they want to go dodgy ADC, Bellona jungle, or Achilles jungle, Bellona solo. There's a lot of flexibility for the Underscore side of things here, but I think we can at the very least say Tiamat is going to Tedesco, and pretty sure that Kino is going to be taking Geb.
I was going to say, those two are for certain. I mean, Achilles jungle is definitely something I always like seeing, but yeah, I'm not sure that's going to be what it is. I think Bellona ADC does make the most sense. I'm interested to see what the build is going to be, that's for sure.
Yeah, and on the other side of things, rounding it out, it is going to be Sobek for Goosedra, which is a much more traditional-looking comp here. Freya Sobek duo lane versus what we're speculating to be Geb Bologna. Is this kind of like a fireworks lane? Are we expecting lots of focus there, or is this just a kind of a wet noodle fight?
I mean, you probably want to see a lot of focus there, at least from Underscore, because you don't want to have that Freya be fed too much. So yeah, I would imagine Underscore is going to try and put their focus on that lane. That being said, I think we should move into this game 1 and find out if we're right or not about our thoughts on that comp. And we are.
Let's go and have a see. And would you look at that? It's like we're paid to do this. It is a Bologna ADC. And they are going to be going with the traditional ADC start by the looks thing. Meanwhile, Loki, not going for Conduit Gem? Is that just throwing the game?
No, that's perfectly fine, actually. It gives you, especially late game, it gives you a lot of power in the jungle, especially around like firefights and such. The Bumba's dagger makes a lot of sense. I think you do not go into Bumba's hammer, you go into the other one, Bumba's spear, I believe.
Yep.
And yeah, it does a lot of damage. So it's definitely not a bad pickup here.
Well, they've already made it into the lane to start things off fairly well, as we are going to take a peek on this side of things for the most part, but it's still fairly early days. That said, it is going to be Goosedra's duo lane who get the level 2 first, but even so, they are respectful of their opponent. They will just let them go ahead and push up and clear the wave. Mid lane side of things, again, it's a very quiet start, but even so, Goostra are the ones who, like you said, they're the ones who are punching up here. It's Underscore who are the favorites. Goostra need to make the mark.
And Underscore is also picking like they are the favorites. This Bologna ADC is definitely not something you would go for if you are not definitely sure of what you're doing.
True.
But yeah, also in his duel lane, I think it's just going to be... even the Bologna is not that good until level 5, because you get poked so easily by the way you have to clear the lane. And we can see it as Sasuke already taken tower shot as well here. So they have to be a bit more careful until Sasuke can full clear lane with his hammer easily without being poked too much. But then again, Calvin is still ready to maybe help his Freya out.
There's no blink for them, so they're going to go a long way in, but the nice rotation is deep. Meanwhile, Sasuke has pushed way too far forward. Beads and Shell are used. They will disengage, though. But Calvin's pressure just grabbed 2 relics for what was essentially them just walking into lane. Keep an eye, though, because Blakey is on the way as well, but it's spotted out by a very early ward. And now it's just junglers having a slap fight while everyone else is fighting over the buff. That said, Calvin is more than comfortable taking this. They will get first blood. No Trickster Spirit. Keen is not able to get away either. The rollout caught and dashed back in. First blood goes to Goostra, though.
Yeah, that's just a bit of overconfidence there on the side of Underscore. I feel like Blakey on that Daji, you really need some levels and items before you start hurting, while Rad just has, with the prot reduction in his 2 and the stun in his 3, just has so much more utility and damage in his kit. There's no way you will ever win this 1v1 until probably level 10 or something like that, once you've actually got items online. So, well done by Calvin. Good early warding. That's something I had to say on another cast very much, is that wards literally won the game. And I think this first blood is really all just due to that ward that Calvin had. So, well played from the side of Gooster to, like, get themselves an early advantage like that. Calvin here to invade the purple number now as well.
Ooh, it might be an invade, but I think Goostra have told them at the very least. Calvin, though, is going to spot 2 of them, and now might be in a little bit of trouble. No beads available for them, but the health bar not quite so much. Is he going to be able to get away from this? No, he is not. Very greedy from the Ratatoska there. Could have gone for the back camp, instead stuck around just a little bit too long.
Yeah. I do wonder if that was the right call for Goostra. You had that nice early pressure. As soon as your dual line calls 8, they're both coming. You should probably back off. It's probably time
you should probably back off. Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's only so much you can do at that point.
Yeah, I mean, he had more than enough time to back off. Now, let's not kid ourselves here. He could have definitely gotten out without getting the buff, of course, which he did in the end get. But like I said, I'm not sure this is worth it. But Calvin is now back here, and Kino out of position.
Very easily picked up there. It's just a 3v1. I respect the call to be annoying on the buffs, harken back to the old support invade meta, but unfortunately you are a Geb who does not do so well in the early game. Talking about doing well, Blakey is not having fun here, just trying to get some damn farm, and they are not being allowed. Bob shows up, Bob ults, Bob gets a kill.
Now we'll see if this continues, but I'm shell-shocked by Calvin's performance. Like, okay, he had this hiccup on the purple buff where he should have definitely just backed off. But in times past, I hope I don't get a bit too personal with this, but he used to be the weakling of a Goosedra, for sure.
Interesting.
But right now, he is making up more than he has to for that, because he's definitely carrying his team through this early game right now. Part of all 3 kills. He's got to have a real nice lead over Blakey already, which means this Daji will even more so not be able to 1v1 the Ratatoskr here. So yeah, I'm very positively surprised. I hope Calvin can keep it up and keep me surprised a little longer.
And just on that as well, look at the way they're building. They're trying to feed the hot hand. Don't worry about the Acorn right now. They've got movement speed. They've got a level lead. Let's just go ahead and get that Jotun's Wrath. More cooldowns mean more chances to put pressure out. Means more potential for my team to get ahead. Absolutely love this here. It's 5 minutes in. We are going to see the rotations out towards that mid lane where a bit more of a fight goes around. Bob is very low, but we'll be able to go ahead and disengage with some beads. Now Calvin's in with the Acorn of Yggdrasil, or the Tree of Yggdrasil across the Cosmos. Unfortunately, will not land, so much ado about nothing there for the mid lane. But Underscore now, that's the first engagement they've looked clean in, and they still don't come away with a win.
Very, very close there on Bob the Bunny. Just barely gets out. The chains from the Paulauer, unfortunately, missing. Now Calvin is back here to invade another buff, granting that Bellona to not get any farm, which is actually really smart. Like, right, this Bellona does feed off getting a lot of early pressure. If you just deny her farm like that, the Freya will just scale so much better. Then Sasuke, he's looking for this 1v1 on Loki.
Well, he's going to find a good bit of damage right now. The sustain is there. Beads used. Will they find enough damage? No, the Valkyrie's discretion. And now there's potential turnaround here.
Oh.
Up, down with the Eagles rally. Needs 1 or 2 more basics. They will find it. And now the Sobek actually gets them out for free. Xenophius, that was not the way you wanted to go and throw them. Now the chase is on to find them. Bob will grab it. All in all, but it's even so. It's only a 1-for-1, and that was a lot of ultimates expended.
Kino is still a bit out of position here, but Tedesco is here as well, so Zenfi is probably not going to look for that pluck. That is very, very unfortunate. I do feel like if Zenfius does not pluck the Bellona out like that, you probably are able to get both Gab and Bellona, but like this, you had to spread yourself out so far, use so many abilities, and so much time to follow up on that Bellona kill, which you do end up getting, so it's ADC for ADC. But I do wonder if you couldn't have gotten even more of a Goosedra. But then again, you already have almost 1k gold lead, 4-2 kills, so it's definitely not looking bad. But then again, Tedesco, he's just been able to free farm in this mid lane, and therefore Bob the Bunny is not able to get any...
Okay.
It's not
all right.
at all.
Not at all, but Underscore, though, they are undeterred at this point. They are roaming around. Do they think they're just playing on the Chaos side? Because they've been in this jungle the whole time. Okay. That was an interesting choice of ults there. They wanted to rip the cord, but unfortunately, you got to hit the cord to rip the cord. So unfortunately, no such luck there. Xenophis will be able to get away with the tail between their legs. And at this point in time, it's all eyes onto the duo lane side of things. Everyone's focused aggression here. I'm kind of looking at this going, hey, maybe our solo laners rotate out and come over here?
I mean, surely they come for the beacon at least, right? I mean, they haven't really been doing anything so far, but surely for beacon.
It's solo lane. They're having a time of their lives right now. Look at them. They're using their abilities. They're smacking each other. It's great.
It is great. It's literally just a 1v1. It's what solo lane is always meant to be. No junglers, no pesky mid laners making rotations for blue buff invades, just 2 warriors smacking each other in the face, as it's supposed to be, as it should be.
Oh no, but look at Goosedra, you mentioned that, you've gone and casted Curse them now, because Calvin's on the way, as is the Sobek as well, and it's now gone from a nice 1v1 to a 3v1, the dash not quite good enough to catch the execute ultimate, but the pain train... The station that they're going to is back to the fountain. Nice little pickup there, Goosedra. Starting to put some pressure on the other side of the map.
I did actually think for sure that Miranda's was going to live there. He got the full ult off, was under his tower, but Goosedra was like, nah, we've got plucks, we've got fearlesses, we've got a Suns, bro. Nothing you can do about this one. And so they didn't. I do want to quickly talk about, though, first of all, build differences in the support, but also Zenfia's has been doing so much more in terms of farming. Level 8 compared to his level 5 from Kino, which is not how we know Kino at all.
huge.
Though, I mean, I don't mind it, I guess, if he just leaves his team to farm. Especially the Bologna needs to have farm to be ahead, which kind of is not working out right now, as we, I think, have some technical issues and a pause. But yeah, we'll just continue talking, and I'm sure we'll be back soon, which is right now. So yeah, I mean, I don't mind it, especially we can see in the mid lane, Tedesco is keeping up very nicely. He's even ahead, because Bob the Bunny was doing some more rotations onto the duo lane, getting 2 kills for it, but losing in waves and mid-harpies. But then there is a small fight. Kino level 5.
Uh-oh, this is not good. That level 5 may be coming back to bite them in the butt here. Calvin cannot get up into the tree. Tedesco picks that one up and has gone full dog mode. Gets themselves the double kill here. Kino somehow is still alive, rolls around from the Valkyrie's discretion, and the rest of the team is here. They will eventually fall, but look at this. It's a 3-for-1, maybe 4-for-1, and potentially Gold Fury if the team turns their sights that way. I was going to mention, you know, everyone's like, oh my god, the support difference. It's 2.5, 3 levels. It's a Geb. They're kind of meant to be like a level or 2 down, and when you can play like that, your team just gets to show up and look fantastic.
It's certainly allowed for Tedesco to, well, farm up and then jump in like that. Also interesting to see now, I want to talk more about builds here, because this is not a build I have really seen in mid in a while, but I suppose it's come back, this Tablet of Destinies in the Book of Thoth. I mean, I don't mind it, I just worry that, I mean, okay, I definitely don't mind on a Tiamat. You've got so many abilities to proc that Tablet of Destinies with, that I can imagine it makes a lot of sense. On Discordia, a little bit less so, but then again, you do work with a lot of CDR, especially in your jump as well. So I guess I don't mind it too much. I'm interested to see where else this goes. I mean, you definitely still need the 40% pen somewhere. But that should be easily manageable, and then maybe an E-Staff to round it out, because I think that is still good, or should be. Or just a Soul Reaver as well. We'll see. I'm interested to see where this goes, because this is not a build I have seen in a while.
Not for a long time, no. Pretty much since its inception, Tablet of Destinies has been a weird option to try and find as we're taking a bit of a peek at this battle here in the duo lane. Locky is very low, but Valkyrie's discretion is available to them. Eagles Rally will land wherever they do as well, but great knock up there. Stops any follow-up. Unfortunately, the Trickster Spirit from Daji perfectly lands them in and grabs the kill. That whole time, though, Goosedra were trying to get aggressive onto the solo side, so I'm pretty sure Mr. Anders just went, yeah, they're over here. You can absolutely wail on them without any issue. So that's an unfortunate look there for Underscore, or rather for Goosedra, because now Underscore, they're looking at this Gold Fury.
And it seems like they're going to get it too. No one on the side of Goosedra really any wiser. They are going to look at this beacon, but Gold Fury is going to be gone at that point. Yeah, I mean, this is something you really have to point out here, or at least I want to, is how well coordinated Underscore are about these gangs, and like when they really try and push it, because they always have someone around the corner, be that Blakey Meow, who just comes on a tower like that, or who is really pushing it, but then he's always got a Gab behind him as well. So they are always backing each other up, never really leaving anyone to just be stranded and die like Goosedra did at the beginning of this game with Calvin, unfortunately. And I think it's paying off at this point. Now, Blakey Meow is suddenly ahead of Calvin, even if just by a little bit, because he hasn't been able to really find anything else here. And Tedesco is definitely still ahead as well. So, yeah, I think it's paying off. The Freya might be ahead now, but not so much that it should be a problem for the Bologna, at least for now, I think. So if Underscore managed to really keep up this pressure in the duo lane, I think it's going to be a little bit troublesome for Goosedra, especially as the game goes on and everyone becomes more tanky and is able to dive even more than they already are. But also Sasuke just playing his ultimate perfectly, always waiting for Freya to come back down and to catch her as soon as she lands. So like, this is really well done here.
Yeah, that's the big one I wanted to mention, is just the fact that every time Valkyrie's discretion is forced, you can see Sasuke is just honing in on them. Wherever you land, I'm going to follow up with my own ult. So it's been great to see. And you mentioned how this can fall off a little bit if they don't go for that typical solo in a side. We are seeing a lot more of the attack speed,
Yes.
full ADC kind of a build come through. But aside from that as well, one of the things I wanted to mention is just that we're seeing a lot of aggression come out from it. The question is whether or not that's going to be a problem as we get into the later side of things. You mentioned how Freya builds up, this Bellona can fall off. With the full dive comp that Underscore have got, that could potentially, they could potentially hoist themselves by their own petard, as it were, especially when they gave up the Stygian Beacon for a Gold Fury. I want to know whether or not you think that's worth.
I mean, Goosedra aren't behind, per se, so I don't think it's too bad. But I think they just didn't know. So, like, if it was a conscious decision, I'd probably say it wasn't worth it. But this way they did still get something and are not behind. So I really don't mind, as we do see another gank coming to his left. And Lucky's not even here anymore. So
Lucky's
nothing
dipping.
gonna come out of this one. He's just...
Lucky straight up dipped. Meanwhile, mid lane, good stun, sets up and the nice golden apple. Unfortunately, half health, because we're seeing the Paul special here of I've built 2 damage items, I need defense now. You don't sound happy about it.
I completely forgot. about the cringe mid build.
The cringe mid build, huh? Well, there's going to be more of a fight around here.
Yeah, so Breastplate of Valor. Breastplate of Valor. Yeah, Glad Shield to round it off in the end. I'm not sure if it is Soul Reaver in the middle, but yeah.
Hello?
Something cringe like that.
Alright, well, you talk about something cringe like that. We got rotation from the duo lane that goes ahead and picks up the enemy jungler as the minions take out the tower. Underscore, I think they're a bit upset at how we've been talking about them, about how Goosedra are doing well, because now, well, they're looking to put pressure out on this map. Gold-wise, the game is even, as is pretty much most of the levels. This is coming to a knife's edge in terms of balance.
Bellona doing what Bellona does best, and that is 1v1ing ADCs. Locky forced out like it's nobody's business. Sasuke is playing or pushing this character well, as we did talk about earlier, where I didn't get to comment on it because things were happening and I realized that the mids were being cringe again.
Again.
I
say that like they're never not cringe.
I mean, hey, I was a mid laner this season. Come on now, don't do me like that.
You're a mid laner. You can just sit 5 miles away from the other side of the map and hit one button and see all these big yellow numbers come up. Oh, I did something in a team fight.
I'm a mid laner, but at least I don't build at least not defense like that. When I build defense, it's not cringe, okay? Because I do it different.
Yeah, all right then. So, judging by the looks of it then, it's Breastplate of Valor. You mentioned Glad Shield. It's just kind of a proc build then?
It really is, yeah. You just want to have a lot of cooldown, survivability against the enemy jungler so you don't get blown up, and probably solo laner as well, but still have a lot of damage through those. Well, yeah, it's the yellow number build, really. Right. You get the Tablet of Destinies, probably Soul Reaver or E-Staff, and probably Glad Shield. Yeah, and you basically don't need the pen because you've got the true damage in the tablet. So... And you don't die because you've got 2 defensive items. It's it is gross.
And you've got a lot of HP as well.
Yeah, it works, but I kind of hate that it does.
To be fair as well, it makes sense from both sides. When you're on Underscore, they've got a team of full dive and 3 of them are physical. I want that defense to keep myself alive. On Underscore's side, I'm a team of full dive. I need to make sure that when I go in, I do as much damage as possible and can survive as long as possible. I want the defense. So, you know, is it really that cringe? Yeah, no, it does make sense for sure. Again, can I finally talk about the Bellona, please? It's been Go
so
ahead.
long.
They're charging the Stygian Beacon. It's 1-to-1 on that. Go on to the Bellona. She's made a rotation out, and now what?
Yeah, well, you see, this build is good, especially for 1v1ing ADCs, but there is a fight between junglers.
Oh, it's unfortunate. Calvin caught very low at this point. We'll all go out and disengage. Goosedra on their heels at this point. Underscore, though, they're not just pushing them out from the Gold Fury. They are looking for that full fight. Blakey looked to try and find Calvin, but Calvin is just too far away. They may instead have to go for the Freya instead. Blakey's up onto the Pow Lao. That will keep him alive. No such luck on the chains. But again, there's a Gold Fury up. Or Primal Fury up. Why not just go for that?
It seems like they will. Unfortunately, Blakey Meow going back in, but he did.
Oh.
I think there was a problem there
I
of
think
a
that's
little bit of
Trickster Spirit.
miscommunication because Blakey was trying to go for Calvin, even though Calvin was very far away already. Meanwhile, right next to him, this Gab got a huge knock-up stun combo onto the Freya. But unfortunately, Blakey, not noticing, did not get any extra damage onto Loki there, meaning that the rest of Goosedra get out scot-free, really. And now Underscore can't even really go for this Gold Fury anymore. Tedesco low, Kino half,
Look at
Blakey
that.
backing.
And look at the response from Goosedra. They didn't even bring Calvin back over to that side of the map. They just go, yeah, we're okay. We can, you know, tank this up well enough. They go back towards the Primal Fury now, do Underscore, and Goosedra will know. But with that Pyromancer going down, Goosedra have grabbed it. So Mr. Anders has made their way on over into the mid lane, as is Shinigami coming through. But Tedesco is very low. Big Eagles rally in. Loki ends up being taken down by the Darji, and the health bars have turned around. It's now Goosedra who's low. Tyr is here, but Tyr can't do enough on their own. They need some damage to follow this setup. There's a little bit more damage, but it's just not enough. This dive comp is doing the business it was always designed to do. Shinigami now just too low. It's put down in the ground.
The Tedesco bait is just too good. Underscore realizing, okay, we don't have that much damage on the Gold Fury right now, and everyone's kind of coming, but we have one man up. And they decide correctly, yeah, it's just time to fight. Back up our mid laner who's jumped in, back up our support. And they get an easy 3-piece forward if I saw that correctly. Loki, Bob the Bunny, and Shinigami all dying for, well, really nothing there. Gold Fury, and luckily for Goosedra, not going down in favor of Underscore, who all had to back. They did get very low. It was very close towards the end there. But still, Underscore slowly but surely crawling themselves into a lead here.
And that's exactly what I need to see from them. If this team is at its peak now, when you've got this Bologna with the executioner dominance and your whole team can start rolling through them, then it needs to be now. But that was the first major rotation we've seen from the solo lane as well. Yeah. At the very least, Shinigami. Mirandas did make the rotation as well, but we didn't necessarily need to see a lot from them just because of how well the rest of the team was doing. Shinigami, though, the tier isn't there for damage. It is there for CC. We saw a hell of a lot of CC there, but there was just no one else. It was just too little too late.
Yeah, it was too late, especially the Freya, I think, being the main damage dealer here, being out of the fight that early is just really bad for Goosedra. You want to keep that Freya alive, get her to get some damage off. You need to get all the cooldowns out of Sasuke if you want to really kill him as the Freya. So you don't want to be the first one to engage and the first one to fight. You want to wait, maybe get some damage from Bob the Bunny out, get some poke, make sure he cannot just walk at you and 1v1 you. Because that is one thing Sasuke will be able to do this whole game on the Bologna is 1v1 the Freya. So yeah, Freya just needs some backup, needs to be able to get some cooldowns, especially the dash out of Sasuke. Otherwise, I think it's going to be very, very difficult for him to win that 1v1, which is something that Freya usually doesn't lose. So maybe this is also a bit hard to mix up for Loki, that he is used to 1v1 people with Freya, but this time around, he just kind of loses by birthright of Bologna. So, yeah.
Okay. Alright, this is a bit of a smash and grab here. 3 members in mid. Goosedra know about it, but I think they also know about this Primal Fury. Their damage isn't quite there. They can get it down low, but they need a little bit more time, and Underscore have sniffed it out. Dash caught there, onto the Sobek, and that should be good, but a 3-man whoop is there available for him. It's just not good enough. Blakey just about looks for the ultimate there. They grab one, they get Valkyrie's discretion. Goosedra are around. They're just forced back again without that front line. And I was going to mention this was good from Goosedra trying to put some pressure out, but their damage output, again, it's just not there.
That is the problem with Freya. Like, yeah, you are very good at carrying late game team fights, especially if there's some good CC on anyone on the enemy. You will do so much damage to them. But any form of objective damage is really tough.
Yeah, you got it.
Especially towers, but also Gold Fury. Once your cooldowns are down, you just won't do much damage. And Loki is caught out again against 3. Don't know if you will live.
He might just about live. The Sobek's here, and the Golden Apple of Discordia Cripple does come in useful. But now this is looking to more that 5v5 situation, and because of the fact that Loki has to go back to base in order to heal back up, because the fact that the ultimate's down from Bob the Bunny, they're going to go ahead and just pressure out. They know that they've got the Bellona who can sit on this forever and a day, so they'll go ahead and just play zone defense as this Fury falls lower and lower.
Underscore will get it too. Moran is low as he goes back in.
That's a lot of damage. Ooh, that's a hell of a lot of damage. Good Sunder. Now the tier comes over the top. Calvin's made the rotation back on through, but Calvin's just deleted by a single straight shot from Tiamat. Now Sasuke goes ahead and goes in. It's a double kill now for Tedesco, looking to pick this one even further down into the tier 2 tower. Goes Tedesco from a good combo from tier, but again, it's great CC. There is no follow-up. Blakey picks up another member here, their 5th kill. Bob
the bounces
somehow finds a little bit extra damage. Blakey on a slightly awkward lazy back there. But with the mid-tier tower gone, and now we've got the last Stygian beacon. Titans are potentially coming out to be unleashed as well. This could be a big push here for Underscore.
I mean, I would expect it to be. They've got everything to play for here. Or they've got all the chances they need to really push their lead more. It's kind of unfortunate that Tedesco is so tanky, because in any other world with any other build, he would have died from that Fearless. Yeah. But not with the breastplate, he doesn't. And that's why his build is so cringe, man. He's supposed to just do damage and not be tanky too. No, solo laners are supposed to do that, not mid laners. But yeah, it's an effective build. I can't deny it. And Tedesco is really being the case study here as to why it works. But yeah, it's unfortunate. It's Loki just really being caught out of position a lot and then forced out of the fight before it really begins. Calvin also coming in at an awkward time where the whole of Underscore just collectively go like, oh yeah, we see you. And then they turn on him and, well, you know, he's out of the fight before he can really do anything at all. So yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. All the CC combos and the engage from Goosedra a little bit all over the place, while Underscore is more like a well-oiled machine that really knows where their strengths are and how they have to engage and when they have to pull back and then like to punch back again when they are ready. So yeah, it's looking really good for Underscore, and I think they're really making good use of this comp that they've got. I'm still a bit worried about this Bellona late game, but what I was gonna say like 10 minutes ago is that I do think with the kind of comp that Underscore went with, it's probably the best shot he's going to get at doing what he wants to do right now that he's ever going to get. Because he's got so much follow-up with him, he's got a gap shield with him, he's got a mid laner that's jumping in with him that he's probably not going to be able to be singled out as much as he would in other team compositions. And with that, I think I'm done talking about Bellona.
All right, fantastic. Now we can talk about the rest of the matchup here. Loki doing the old pretty prime strat of, I just need some farm. I'm going to the other side of the map. You guys fight elsewhere. Titans are on the right-hand side as well, so this could be a potential big push for the rest of Underscore. I wouldn't be surprised if they do go and play a little bit of a game of chicken here. Loki, like you mentioned, great player damage, not great objective or structure damage, so they will more than happily fight this. And Loki won't really be able to do too much. They're going to need a long time to get this tier 2 tower, maybe even a second wave. But Underscore don't care. They're going to say, you know what? Take the tower. Take it. We don't want it. We're going Fire Giant here. What are you going to do about it?
It's interesting how this is going to go now, because the last few Gold Furies, we saw that the Tiamat wasn't even there to do damage.
Oh, it's a bait.
Yeah, it is a bait. He was there to zone, and this time he's coming back again to finally counter Xanfias.
Yeah, to zone and to pwn. That is what these frontliners are doing right now with the extra Titan putting damage into the tier 2 tower. Everyone else is in trouble. And with that, they're looking to try and get a bit more aggressive here. A lot of damage, though. Shinigami finally gets the follow-up they needed. And that's what you've wanted to see. Now Calvin potentially finds some good damage as well. But they're just too tanky at this point in time. And the peel is so good. Sasuke finds Calvin. Calvin could not take down this abomination of a mid laner.
But Sasuke is still in there. No, Tedesco actually didn't go out. There was more of a push from Shinigami.
Not again! Not again, the Geb shield is just too good! And somehow, Kino gets to blink away? Are you insane? Even so, Goosedra, despite all of that, they still come away 3 for 1 in their favor.
Again, a bit of overconfidence here, I feel like. Blake, he just kind of has his habit of overstepping a little bit without his team. And this Discordia is still gonna hurt you so much, as well as just 2 basics from the Freya, I think it was, to almost half it. This poor Daji, just as soon as the big apple hit her face. So yeah, you gotta be a bit more careful. You've got this team full of frontliners. Actually let them frontline, please.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I completely misread that entire fire. I was thinking that everyone underscore had got out or got away after Blakey died and it was all fine, but no, they still managed to pick up multiple members. It was just the Tiamat who gets to get away with this tankiness. Maybe Blakey should build some defense, eh? When we thought about that option for them, as we are gonna see Loki taken down by a lot of commitment from the rest of underscore. Across the Cosmos is being channeled right now. We'll see whether or not it lands offensively, defensively, or anywhere in the vicinity of a fight. The answer is no. They do not want that. They are going to leave Xenophus just to die on their own. There's 4 members around them. Stasis can buy them a little bit of time to think about how bad things have got. You know what? No. Queue up Baba O'Reilly. Hey there. That's me. You may be wondering how I got here. Well, let me tell you a story. That's literally that whole moment right there.
Really,
if
only we could have just seen the charge up of the Achilles ult now. That would have made it perfect.
Oh, yes. Hey, that's me. You may be wondering how I got here. Well, my team decided to try and get some farm, and the enemy team didn't like that. So, unfortunately, I had to pay the price, as did my ADC. And now we might lose mid tier 2, and left tier 2, and then maybe a fire giant.
Yeah, no, underscore is looking in a very good position after this kill. Not even the execute needed. Tedesco will finish it off. Yeah, now I forgot what I was going to say. I think the problem here is just now we've come to the point where Goosedra has not been warding up very well. It's the point where you don't see anyone on the map, you don't know where anyone is, and you still decide to step up. And again, it's Loki that steps up first, and Loki is the one that needs to be second to last to go up somewhere. I get it, he wants to have farm, but, you know, it's just leading nowhere. As Shinigami is going to take half of Blakey Meow's health bar and the fire.
This is a steal? Ooh, it's not quite a steal. Underscore do grab themselves the fire giant. Shinigami ulted in, so likely means they're going to be put down in the ground fairly easily, and they will get ulted out of this one. The Achilles ult is used aggressively to get close out a little bit more of a distance, but fire giant in tow. Blink in from Sasuke. River's Rebuke? No, that's Eagle's Rally. I'll get a word in there eventually, right? Blimey, but goes aggressive. Can't quite find any follow-up, but now they've got fire giant in tow. How aggressive do Undertale play? Undertale? I'm all over the place with my words today. I've been thinking to say Undertale. Every time I look at Underscore's name, I'm thinking Undertale. I'm like, don't say Undertale. That's not their name.
Bro, if you are gonna cast an underscore versus Underworld finals, man, it's gonna be hell for you. It's gonna be the worst.
But like I said, I've been off from doing this for like 2.5 months. I've been moving 3,000 miles. Cut me some slack here. Well, I don't do the words good, all right? Which probably isn't a good idea for someone who's supposed to do the words good. Either way,
it's okay.
How aggressive?
I don't do either.
It's fine. How aggressive do Underscore?
Yeah.
Almost did it again. How aggressive do Underscore play with this fire giant? Are they looking for phoenixes? Are they just looking? Are they looking to end? What is their game plan here?
I reckon only towers. With you not having any ranged ADC damage and Tedesco building more defense as well, you are not gonna shred Phoenixes very quickly at all. If you get the Bellona close, it's gonna be all right. But then she is so open to just get poked out and damaged and then to be engaged on. So I would imagine this being just normal FG, that it's only all the towers in the map that are gonna go to Underscore. Goosedra are starting to like soft defend this, wanting to get some poke, and Moran is expertly dodging around. But you can see this already, there is no damage on towers whatsoever, and Goosedra, they know this. They're stepping up to defend.
They're looking for a good spot for them right now. Just those little lizards to try and tank up this tower. Geb is doing a good job as well. But like you said, Goosedra are not letting this one go for free. They know the tower of damage is not there. Shinigami was round the corner looking for a blink target for them. But if nothing else, it wastes a little bit of time on this fire giant. So it does look like it is going to be, as you said, just the towers, maybe even just 2 towers with how well Goosedra are holding a defense here. And it's not even commitment for much. It's just buying time, the double whoop, the knockoff damage. Unfortunately, Calvin, just a little too far away from everyone else, gets sideswiped by Underscore. And that may very well be the undertone of the end of this game. There we go. There's a nice little pun for you there, getting the name work. We're doing it. As now, mid-tier 2 gone, and a 4v5 with Fire Giant. It looks like Goosedra are gonna have to make a defense under Phoenix here. Shinigami goes in, hits nothing on the... It's all dive from the underscore right now, but they're not finding any kills just yet. Loki is the target, and Loki will get 3-man dove for it. Meanwhile, the Geb is just doing support things and living on the barest margins of HP, and finally goes down to Shinigami. But even so, the rest of the team is killing your backline. Shinigami, guess what? You get to live, but your mid Phoenix doesn't, and guess what? You don't even get to live. That's a triple kill coming through for Blakey, and with the Titans' door swung wide open, these three members are going to try and go for an end here. Calvin is up and available. We'll go straight up into the ultimate. But look how quick that Titan is melting. Look how little damage Tedesco takes. It may not matter. It's still going for it. Wait, hang on a sec. They hold because Tedesco dips. Tedesco actually falls back, trying to cut their losses, and may very well have just given Calvin a triple kill here. No, you've got to be kidding. I'm done. Goodbye. I'm done.
Okay, so I guess it's just me for now. So yeah.
What was that HP? What was that?
Yeah,
I hate mid laners. I hate them. I hate you all.
Now listen, I do not condone building like this, okay? It's not me. I'm better. Okay? I'm better than this. Maybe not better in game, but like at least I have the moral high ground.
Yeah, you got the moral victory. I don't build like this.
Yeah.
But then again, if you did build like this, you'd be 9-0 and 11. I think we found the reason they first picked this god.
For sure. Now let's just hope Tedesco can do this on other picks as well, because I fear if I'm Goosedra, I'm banning that next time around and seeing what Tedesco can do on other gods.
I think so, yeah.
But yeah, quite unfortunate. I love the cheeky Merlin, but surely you don't build.
Yeah,
like
you build that build on Merlin.
No,
you build that build on Merlin because you've got like 12 abilities that you get to use.
No.
See, I love it. I can just ruin anything for you. I can pick your favorite god and then just say what they build cringe.
Yeah, no, it is. No, see, you can't do that because my favorite god's King Arthur, and if he's good, his build is always cringe, so it's fine.
That's
he's
true.
Good, bro.
Yeah, alright, as much as we're having fun memeing, can we just point out how Sasuke is 1v1ing the Fire Giant, and I'm gonna be honest, they're kind of winning.
They are.
What is this sustain? This is gross. This is more cringe than the mid build.
Now listen, a Bologna ADC is never cringe, ever.
Hang on a sec, Shinigami might be going for a steal, but they get caught up in just trying to deal with everyone else. Kino gets low. This Fire Giant's not low enough, though. Calvin's here. Underscore, though, do manage to grab themselves the second Fire Giant. It ain't clean, it ain't pretty, but the follow-up fight certainly is. Sasuke picks up Calvin for free at this point. Shinigami finally ends up falling. The doors open once again, and this time there are 3 healthy members, but one can teleport back on in, meaning it's a 4.5 onto potentially the Titan. Loki is just getting mowed down. This Freya is not having a fun time. We've seen this before. Another triple kill for Blakey. The Titan's much lower this time, and they will nail the coffin shut on this one. Underscore battle through for 35 minutes, but come up with the win.
No, really well done by Underscore. I feel like Goosedra has just always been a little bit too disjointed in those fights. Calvin going for a very valiant FG steal attempt, going in a bit too early, overestimating the damage of Underscore there, I feel like. Because they still, even though Bologna was 1v1 the Fire Giant, it took a while. There is not much damage on that Fire Giant from that team, and especially no secure. So if Calvin had just waited a split second longer, I do feel like we're talking about something very different here. Or at least it would have gone on for a little bit longer. But yeah, after that, it's just so disjointed, and that's where the Bologna really shines, because if you've got no one there to help you and to focus that Bologna out, she's going to win most 1v1s, especially, or at least into this Goosedra team, because there's no one really to out-CC her or burn her, or burst her really hard with abilities, especially with the gap being there as well. Even Bob the Bunny might not be able to fully commit on the Bologna. And with those disjointed fights, it's just Underscore's communication that really pushes into victory here.
That's the big one that I wanted to mention. Is it was less so much that Goosedra didn't have. They were scrappy. They threw some good punches. Calvin got some really good early game fights, but it was very much that sort of run in, sucker punch you in the face, steal your purse, then run off before you know what happened. As soon as the team fight stages came about, as soon
Yeah.
as the more planned, developed, fortified situation came through, they just kind of ran into a brick wall every single time. And there was never a change up. There was never a reassessment of things. And the team kept doing this. I don't think we saw a full 5v5 ever because Calvin was getting picked off 2v1 in the backline. The closest we got was that mid lane tier 2 defense where Calvin got blown up and they were against a fire giant, and there was no way they were holding it at that point. But even so, I like the fact that this team knew they had a game plan coming in. They were able to assess where they needed to go early. They just didn't quite have the steam to keep it going. And if Loki is the player who is your big I am, who is your win con, they cannot go 4-8-4 when everyone else is there. If Loki's having a bad game, Bob, you got to step up. Calvin, you got to step up. Shinigami, you got to peel for it. Someone's got to do something for them against this comp. So going into game 2, what are you thinking picks and ban-wise? Is it a complete reshuffle? Is it we just ban everything from underscore? What are you looking at here if you're on Goosedra?
No, I think you got it quite right in the end there. If you've got Loki, who's a really good player, who you want to enable as much as possible, but then you pick a Soulbag and a tier, leaving basically no one to really stop any of the advances from underscore onto your ADC. And Freya is decently safe when it comes to that. She can remove herself from the fight for a good amount of time. But if you've got no one to stop, like 3 members or 4 members of underscore jumping on that Freya, all the hypercarry potential in the world isn't going to save you from that. So I do think you probably want to change a little bit of the bans here. I mean, let's be honest, Tedesco needs to be on something else. We just need to get that out of here. The Tiamat is just not worth fighting into.
Yeah.
But then something maybe a bit more peel heavy, or at least make sure that underscore does not get to have this all-in engaged team comp, so that your CC from your support and your solo laner can maybe actually do something, because there was no backline to really harass and pluck in for your backline to kill. You always kind of have these 4 tanks in your face that you realistically can't kill within like 5 seconds, and then your backline is dead. So maybe I mean, either force underscore to have a completely different comp, or change the way you have peel in your team yourself.
All right. Well, with that whole thing, it looks like Goosedra may have a plan for this. That's going to be game 2. We're going to have to go ahead and get that set up and things. But rather than just listen to us ramble on, as you have done for the past 35 minutes or so, we're going to go ahead and send this to a quick break. When we get back, we'll have game 2, potentially the final here for underscore getting their way back on up to fight into the finals. But will Goosedra finally answer back? We'll have to find out in game 2. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Game number 1 of Underscore versus Goosedra goes Underscore's way with some very interesting picks. A full dive team, including a very but 9-0 and
yeah,
game
I
2.
suppose.
Looking to try and answer. We'll be taking first pick for this. Ready, ban-wise.
Now, I can only hear half of what you're saying, Blur, but I imagine you're asking me what I want Goosedra to do at ban-wise. Yeah, so last game ended with Tedesco going 9-0 and 14, I think. So just get the Tiamat out, please. Force our ex-solo laner onto a different pick that we have not seen before. We do see a second ban here straight away coming out. Yem still a very good ban, I don't mind it at all. Underscore, I think they just have to run it back. Maybe not the Bologna ADC, because I think that was more adjusted to countering that Freya, and it worked. But yeah, I think otherwise, Underscore with their heavy dive comp and them just managing to get their team fights in early because their team fight was so strong, and like just having so many rotations of it, like at least 2 people with the support and jungler always sticking together, just run it back, honestly. There is no need for you to change anything.
Alright. Okay, well, we're gonna run back some interesting picks here because Underscore, they're gonna have to find a new mid laner like we mentioned, but Thor banned away in the last game is gonna go ahead and get picked up by Goosedra here. So now with that option available to them, it was banned away in, it was actually Goosedra who banned it away, and they might go ahead and pick up the Ratatoska?
That's interesting. Now, what I would like to know about first is if this Thor is gonna go into the solo lane or the jungle. I'm pretty sure Calvin really likes this pick, if I remember correctly, and your pick now as well, which is the Shinigami pick. So yeah, we've got it all figured out. No need for me to keep on talking about it. Morgan Le Fay also hovered, which is interesting. But yeah, Underscore running back the gap, I think, is definitely a good call. It's working, obviously, especially if you want to go for these more hyper dive comp thingies that you've had last game. The gap always just lets you push on a little bit more with some good AoE CC as well. It's just a very solid pick.
Very nicely, and like you said, it's all about facilitating that dive, and now Goosedra have to start pivoting, thinking, oh god, are they going for the same dive? It's almost like a reactionary pulse test, you know, like you hit the knee and you see how hard someone's gonna kick back. With the Ratatoska and the Ravan coming through, this Geb is going to be facilitating a lot of dive here. Athena banned away again, and I think you really hit the nail on the head, and how we saw this game play out. I really like the idea of the Athena ban. It's the disruption of that dive, pulling members away very easily. Knockups are a little bit more universal with a lot of other gods, but at the same time, they're not as potent as a 2-second taunt pulling someone away the whole time, forcing your beads. So with that, it is taken off the table by Underscore. They're also going to get rid of the Freya, given the fact that Goosedra banned away the Bologna.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if Goosedra could have just banned the Bologna second time around then, so Underscore don't have the time to ban the Freya still. If that was actually the only proper counter that Underscore have to this Freya, you could have probably run it back, but with a bit more peel from your support. But then again, I don't mind this. Get Loki on one of his more signature picks, like his X-Ball, for example, I'd say. I think that would work well. Stuff like that. If I remember correctly, Loki also didn't particularly like all the magical ADCs, especially when they were in meta as well. I think that was like one of his weakest phases, basically. But yeah, I'm interested to see where he goes to now. Also, what I wanted to talk about is Morgan Le Fay. I am genuinely worried about. We're already seeing the Rat, the Raven, as you said, with the facilitation from the Geb. Yeah, Morgan has a good knock-up, knock-away for self-peel. You're never gonna get a Raven off you. You're never gonna get a Raven with a Geb shield off you. And if then there's a Rat in the air just waiting, for you to get, for you to use your abilities. I don't know, man. And then you've got this Horus, which is an amazing pick, but does not peel again. Yeah, I'm worried for Goosedra's backline again. Hey, there's the X-Ball, I call it.
You did. I was gonna mention, like, the Horus I like because it can be a little bit more aggressive and can still facilitate a lot of this sort of global presence that Goosedra have right now. And now, like you said, this is another one that Loki can play. Loki plays well. I think that Goosedra have come in with a very solid comp here. They've come in with a game plan, which I think is the biggest one from game 1 to game 2. Is game 1 was kind of, we just picked 5 gods. They'll work well together because, you know, it's knock up and peel and CC and hey, that's great for damage dealers. This game, you have rotation from Thor, rotation from Jormungandr, rotation from Horus, lights out from Xbalanque, and Morgan can exist and maybe be bait if has to be the case. But underscore here, Yu Huang for the mid lane. First question, can it do the cringe build?
Honestly, I don't think so at all, because you've practically got 2 damaging abilities that are then on, to be fair, his one is on a very short cooldown, but I don't think you quite have as many abilities to hit that can really proc that Tablet of Destinies that often, and the Glad Shield as well. So I don't think, at least I don't think you should build on Yu Huang. Maybe I'm going to be proven wrong today. But yeah, I think you probably want to go into a bit more of a damage, but maybe a Soul Reaver this time around as well, and the E-Staff to... Because those are still very good items on Yu Huang as well, but I think the defensive items are a bit more lost on him, because then you lose out on a lot more damage that you can kind of, you know, get on other characters with this cringe build. Yeah, one thing to call out production real quick, Goosedra is on the wrong side here, and also we've got some roster changes for Goosedra. We've got Kami back in mid lane now, which I think means that Goosedra is back to their full main roster.
Okay.
And then we've got Bob the Bunny back in support. Loki will obviously stay in ADC, and Xenphius is out for this game too. Kami, if I remember, is actually a really good mid laner as well. Bob the Bunny already did pretty well, I think, for what he could do in game 1. Maybe it's going to be even better now. Maybe Goosedra can actually punch back a little bit harder than in game 1.
Potentially with that situation, but overall in things, we look at Underscore's team here. It's a little bit of dive with the Ratatoska and the Ravan. Which one of these is going solo lane? Because I personally, admittedly, this was back with Sphinx Bauble where it was OP, loved running the Ravan solo.
It
but
should still be.
You could make a pretty good argument for both of them here.
I think it's still Raven solo. He did get his damage nerfed as well recently, which means that his jungling potential, I think, has gone down the drain even more. We have seen him played in jungle still a few times, and especially his early and mid game is still very good, because you still have that very good early game CC. You're still really hard to lock down, even if you're building full damage, and you will have all the burst potential in the world. But especially late game, I think those damage nerfs are really noticeable. But on the other hand, his shielding and all his capabilities that make him good in solo are still just as good. Just that you do a little bit less damage, but you know, that's fine. You're gonna have a Bluestone Brooch and Glad Shield and probably like Manticore spikes. So you're gonna do enough damage as is. So I imagine the Raven is gonna go into the solo lane and Wrath into the jungle for sure.
All right, well, with picks and bans done, let us see how game number 2 is won. Goosedra looking to keep this going to the 3rd game. Underscore looking for that rematch. Let's see whether or not they will do so. However, all of those things that were just mentioned about, all that wonderful analysis, yeah, throw it all out the window. It's a Ratatoska solo.
Cool. All right, then. I mean, what am I even here for at this point? I mean, you can already tell. See, Miranda's already half. It's a bad pick. Get the Raven in solo, for God's sake. No, but yeah, go on. I'm triggered. It's fine. Whatever.
I don't mind the Ratatuska. It can kind of match the global rotation potential. It helps if you hit your stuns, but it's still got a little bit of sustain there. And yeah, I do agree that with the pickup just from Shinigami going for the Tainted Steel, you're in a great spot for that for the solo side of things. So we'll have to see whether or not that is something that gets picked on by these junglers. Meanwhile, have a quick peek over at the duo lane. One of the bastions is already gone. That is what Sol does.
Yeah, she has so much early damage.
Do you remember when Sol...
Yeah.
I was gonna say, do you remember when Sol came out and she could take tier 1 towers in like the first 2 minutes? Yeah, she's doing it again.
Yeah, she is. No, for sure. She still does that.
Ew.
I mean, this is kind of a repeat of last game, right? First, you get this Bellona that really wants to get active early and has a lot of pressure. And the Soul does the exact same. The Soul is just so much early damage from a bit more range, but it does the exact same thing that the Bellona did. You just want to be there for early pressure, for early damage, as Blakey is also making his first rotation of the game.
And Bob the Bunny going out just to ward, and Blakey goes ahead and say, hey, you know what? I'm just here for the farm instead. And I like that call. Not going to overstep their welcome. Not going to force a hand into a bad spot. So instead, it says, hey, I got some extra farm. That's great. Meanwhile, Calvin looking for potential fight over on this right-hand side into this Ratatuskar. We'll see whether or not they do get the stun. There's the stun! Yeah. And there's Calvin again with first blood.
I was a little bit worried. Shinigami missing the big circle in his 2. But yeah, luckily Calvin is still there with his good early game presence that he had last game as well, as you said, and he will manage to secure first blood. In that solo line, very important as well, because for some reason Rat did have the upper hand there, but this time it's Sasuke.
Whoa! Sol forced very low into the disapparate, as meanwhile, Kino is off trying to steal back camps, as they did in the last game. This time, though, they will get pressured out by Kami here on this mid lane, and I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking at this. I'm seeing a conduit gem. I'm seeing a spell book. I'm thinking this could be the same kind of cringe build.
Nah, conduit gem is not part of that build, is it? I think that is still Sands of Time that you want to have with it. Oh, you do start conduit. That actually, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, of course, it makes sense. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. I mean, on Morgan Le Fay, I think it makes more sense. Your 1 is on a very short cooldown as well. You've got those 4 damaging abilities. It's not as good as on the Tiamat as on the Merlin. Probably, I hate you for that blur, by the way. Yeah, we'll see where it goes. But then at least we can say I was right about Yu Huang, and he's not going to build it because Sands of Time are there, and also to start into what is probably going to be either Divine Ruin or a Spear of Desolation. One more thing I saw that I wanted to talk about while Moranis is being pushed out very heavily by this big snack is the Gilded Arrow start by Loki, which is something I usually don't see on X-Spawns, because you usually want to have that mana sustain from the Death Toll. But this is making me wonder, is Loki maybe going to go into a more of a crit-focused build, which I would be interested in seeing, honestly.
I would not mind it either as well. I mean, the crit's going to stack up really well with that additional damage that you get from your passive. So there are options here as Calvin goes ahead and tries to put some damage over onto this solo side again, as 2 ultimates used over onto this. Goosedra seem to be wanting to try and pressure out this Ratatuskar. Is that really the best call? Is getting Jormungandr ahead that important?
I did like the first blood there, as Kami's looking real low in mid lane, but he's barely gonna get out of this one. I mean, with how Moranis pressured out Shinigami very early, I don't mind it at all. But now this Yerm should be able to run the lane by himself, and you do still have this Soul on the other side, which is, to be fair, behind, but that is a pick you also don't want to let to get ahead too far, because Soul already has this early game advantage. And I think she is actually fairly easy to gank as a Thor, especially because you need to have such aggressive and deep wards when you are underscore to be able to tell when a Thor is coming. So I would like Calvin to look at this duo line a bit more. I think mid is going to be really hard. Yu Huang's got so much safety. You're probably not going to get much done there. But then again, maybe Calvin will prove me wrong, as there's going to be a little scuffle around his shield buff.
A little bit of one right now as Sasuke just trying to get us whatever farm they can. Will they be able to steal this one away? Nope, they have it just a little too late. A little too early on their abilities, so unfortunately not going to be able to steal that one away. But it has pulled Bob the Bunny over to this side of the map, which has meant that Kino's been able to actually just kind of sit around and farm, which is kind of crazy to say considering last game they were all just, oh yeah, I'm going to bait myself and get super low and get 2.5 levels behind. This is an even game against an aggressive support.
It is. I mean, Kino doing it well. This time he does not want to give it up that hard. Not that it didn't work last game, and it worked out perfectly. But now in solo lane, what I feared was coming, Moranis pushed out real hard.
It is. It's a Chronos pendant start for Shinigami. I was
Yes.
wondering what they were going to go in for here. I was thinking maybe a Doom Orb. Maybe if they really felt like it, they could go for, if they were going to put a lot of pressure out here, maybe a Karen's coin super early just for pen. But Shinigami gets the solo kill. Little delay.
Miranda's.
They will still get it. Soloed out very nicely, and they'll use the big snake just to get away. And this is exactly what you want from your solo
I'm sorry,
laner.
I need to interrupt you. I forgot Buy Miranda's. I'm sorry, I completely forgot the meme. Go on. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's something. There's a meme in there that I don't know right now, but we did see Into the Skies being used, as we are going to see a bit more of a scuffle here. This teleport has come back through from Miranda's, and the Thor will just about manage to get away in time. Darkest of Nights used to cover the retreat as well. And the score may be down 0-2. They're also down 2,000 gold, which I think is the slightly, or 1,300 gold, which I think is the bigger talking point here.
Good start for Goosedra, which also arguably have the better late game comp in my opinion. I think the Rat will fall off a little bit at least, especially with all the anti-heal that Goosedra already have. Same going for this Raven, which will definitely fall off because Raven's jungle, in my opinion, is not the play right now. And Soul even more so, as Kami again just engaged on.
Engaged on, gets low, but gets away, which is the big thing. Now Bob might be able to peel for them as Calvin finds Kino with the fadeaway Mjolnir's attunement. Great work there from Calvin again. 2 out of the 3 kills with their name to it. Miranda's trying to dive tower to get low onto Shinigami. Will not be able to find the kill, but puts themselves probably too low to try and be aggressive as Shinigami gets just back and walk their way back to lane. Actually, that's fair. How would you say, do they slither back? Because I thought Slither was like, you're on the ground. He's kind of like half burrowing his way there? Because he doesn't walk, because Jormungandr doesn't have legs. He's a serpent.
If at all he has one leg, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, honestly, man, you ask me questions I don't have the answers for. I don't like that. I feel stupid.
Hey, you were the one who, before the game, I was like, "Hey, where's your knowledge base so that I can ask you questions about it?" You said, "He's fine."
Listen, man,
I'm asking you anything. Does your
Jormungandr get questions about the English language, man?
It's a good game. It's always a fun game when we get these little moments like this. There's a little bit of brevity. There's now Goosedra getting a bit aggressive here into the skies, and the Anvil of Dawn launched on through, trying to get aggressive here. Underscores Kino taken down immediately, but that was a big investment for just the support.
But not just that, they also defended their purple buff. Loki does have it again, so this was just a good defense of their own purple, while Underscore being a little bit overzealous with what they have right now. Blakey also dropping really low.
Very low, needs a little bit of healing, and they get it from the 10-hand Shadow Fist. Absolutely insane. The question is will Goosedra recognize the position they're in? Will they go for this Gold Fury? They do. I'm glad to see that. I had a worry that Goosedra might just back off and let this all be going for nothing, but instead they recognize, hey, we can go for the Gold Fury. They reset it slightly, unintentionally, as now Kino is here. Does have ultimate. They gotta be careful. They might actually lose members here to this Gold Fury. Goosedra get a Gold Fury. Bob falls to Kino, and now Sasuke is here looking for follow-up. They'll lose 2 for the Gold Fury. Unfortunate. Just one misstep. They reset it for half a second, and it costs them.
Yeah, but that is really not that worth it anymore. I thought, okay, you can lose your support to it. No worries. He'll be back. He's ahead anyway with how Kino has been playing. But then Loki being caught without mana and dropping to Sasuke as well. That is really where it starts becoming unfortunate, because that means it's not worth the undertaking anymore. And with that, also the stall with the push potential onto towers, that is gone now as well, which means that Underscore really have fought their way back into an even game state here, and that is really bad for Goosedra because they were doing so well in pushing their lead here in the early game.
And so far, not too bad. We are going to see some answers back, because we did see left side tier 1 tower. I've always been a person who prefers getting towers over Furies, because for my mind, Furies respawn, towers do not, but it all depends on what you can do with that extra map pressure right now. Can you push out a little further, push up a little more aggressively? Because right now, we're only 11 minutes in here, so it's still fairly early days to try and be that far up.
See, I think exactly the opposite. I like Furies a lot more than towers, because for towers, for me, is like, okay, that's farm that I have, but that the enemy also has. Like, a tower will never go away and can never be taken by the enemy. So that is farm that you can at any point of the game basically get anyway. Which is why I would prioritize Gold Furies more, because that's neutral farm. Like, the enemy can get it too, and we don't want that to happen.
Very true. Well, we'll have to see whether or not they can get their own buff at this point in time, and Locky does manage to grab that one. But now Sasuke's pushed up very far. The Disapparate comes through, and they've got 2 ultimates being used on them. Again, waiting out the Disapparates there. But a nice little stone shield keeps them alive. Doesn't even have to burn beads. That is 2 ults for 2 abilities, neither of them ultimates.
And that means Underscore are in prime position to go for this beacon. Solo laners, again, not concerned about it at all, which is interesting to me. But, I mean, Underscore does not need to come, or, well, Miranda's doesn't. He is low, almost soloed, is soloed, actually, by Miranda's. But yeah, this beacon is still going to Underscore, which means they are actually behind. But yeah, big bait, big fight.
Big fight, big bait, big fight. Not much damage going the way they needed to. No major kills just yet. Needs one more, and they do get the great fadeaway shot there from the branching bowler. Great use of that from Locky. Picks up a kill, so all in all, 2 for none. Though, do we really include the solo lane kill in that one? Not always, but it is, at the very least, constantly trying to make Underscore answer back. Goosedra technically in the driving position in this game, but the last couple of minutes have felt a little shaky.
They have, but Goosedra is back on top. Locky is coming online now. Also looking at the Souls build, I'm not quite happy with that either. I think Bancroft's is just kind of bad, but you know, that's how it is. But that means Locky really is going to be doing so much more than Sasuke is. Even at this point already, I feel like, yeah, Sasuke was able to really easily push down a tower and such. But I think the ultimate and the damage coming out of Locky now is just worth so much more than what Sol was able to bring in those first 10 minutes. Which means I'm very hopeful for Goosedra to do well in this and to maybe actually turn it around. Yeah, they lose a beacon, but honestly, that's not the biggest loss in the world. You can go for the 2nd and 3rd beacon. You're still ahead. You won the fight afterwards. So basically, a turnaround from the Gold Fury fight before. So yeah, I don't mind at all. Miranda's, though, going for a very risky proxy farming.
Okay. Yeah, considering they've been soloed out a couple of times and they're 0-3 right now. Just look at this damage coming through from Shinigami. They're just spitting on them. It's just... and it's like a quarter of their health bar gone in a full rotation. Calvin's ult has been used, but if a Thor ult's in the jungle and no one is around to see it, alright, they might know now because he landed directly on a ward, but that's not the point, because now Miranda's is actually going to go ahead and pick him up and trade out their life for it. Kami will find them, but meanwhile, the rest of Underscore are off doing the Fury as well. So Underscore found themselves a good point. We wondered, why is this solo laner pushing up so far? It's because it's a distraction. Look over the right lane whilst we deal with the left.
And not only does Underscore get that Gold Fury, but Miranda's is also able to get a kill on Calvin somehow. Unfortunately, that Rattle just able to last a little bit longer than the Thorold. That is crazy to me, that Miranda's not only manages to divert the attention of 3 from Goosedra, but also get the kill onto Calvin, who was doing so well up until now. That is really well played there for the side of Underscore.
And it's just what you're expecting from this team. That goes back to that same mentality of Goosedra. They're good at the quick jabs, early game, punch you, steal your wallet, and then run. Underscore now have gone, okay, you're going to punch us and steal our wallet. Hey, I brought a fake wallet. You can take that one. Here's the one that I actually want. It's the other side of the map. They have learned Goosedra's tactics and are now trying to avoid it. Miranda's here has pulled 3 members around and said, okay, I can't fight the solo lane opponent. I'm just not gonna, and I'm gonna proxy them. Deal with it somehow.
I mean, yeah, it works. But then again, with Miranda's build, he also does want to fight a little bit going into a prophetic cloak. You do want to get that stacked as soon as possible, which is already hard from the solo lane. But you still want to get it stacked, so he should be fighting at least a little bit. I am interested to see how well this build does late game on the Rat. You're gonna have decent sustain, that's for sure, but then again, I feel like you won't have that much damage. Maybe the explosion from the Pridwin is gonna do more than I expected to, but you're basically only gonna have the Bluestone so far, at least. So I'm cautiously worried about this Ratatoskr and how well it's gonna do late game, because so far
Again.
I'm not that convinced. And yeah, he's just here again. This time Bob the Bunny is here too, so I think Morales is just dead this time, unless he gets up in the air.
He'll get up in the air because there's no real worries. He just pulled 2 members. He's going to check out the jungle. He's going to scout it. He's going to try and run away. The Thor, though, is trying to chase him out. They do grab him with it. The question is can he hide behind the Pyromancer? And he does manage to do so, and the rest of the team's close enough that he just gets away with it. Either someone needs to be there from Goosedra before he proxies, or they just need to ignore it.
I mean, Calvin did the right thing this time around. He waited with his ultimate until Miranda's was down again. But then he just didn't use the full combo for some reason. He just dunked, basicked, and like spinned and was like, okay, well, I tried. Nothing else I can do here, and then backed off again. Pyromancer now pulled by Goosedra as Kino is trying to do something about it.
Kino not able to go ahead and steal this one away. The rest of the team may be around eventually, although when I say the rest of the team, I didn't mean Goosedra, because they're the ones currently looking to try and pick off Kino. Kino does manage to get away as the World Serpent looks to try and chase this dive out, but instead opts to back away. Shinigami's health bar! My goodness, you are not as tanky as you thought you were going to be. Ends up getting chunked out pretty damn hard as the beacon now is the battleground that everyone's fighting over. The soul damage has started to come through. Kino is here just in case someone needs a shield. But even so, the rest of the team is able to force off members from Goosedra. Actually, just take a quick peek at Kino. I want to check. Have they maxed out that Geb shield? I would imagine that they have, given how far they're staying here. And they do, yes. Yeah. I love Gebs who do this. Recognize what you are there for. Keep the rest of your team alive. You don't do damage. Stop trying to do more damage. Please.
No, for sure. The Geb shield is just the biggest part of Geb's kit. There is no two ways about it. The cleanse and just how big that shield is definitely what you want to go for. Now, to come back to what I said earlier, Blakey's just going to be out. Blink use, no problem at all. I was wondering if Expo was going to go for crit, but Blake, he went back in.
Ooh. Yeah, I think he went back in and was like, I can tank. No, I can't tank this. I can't tank you. He's gone for that same build before where it's the Transcendence into Soul Eater. So, a lot of sustain, but you can't tank that.
Not at all, no. Back to the Expo, we're not seeing any crit. And that makes me wonder, why do we have a Gilded Arrow here? I would have imagined that for sure, either Death's Toll or Cowl would have been a better pickup. Especially for Expo, who has, I would argue, some of the biggest mana issues early game with the way his one works. But then again, it's worked out so well, so far, rather.
Yeah, I mean, we could still see maybe a single cheeky Deathbringer, and you're going for 55% crit, not maxing it out, just a cheeky bit, you know, as a treat. Enemy ADCs can get crit for 700 if you're feeling lucky. Yeah. Now we're going to see a bit more of a rotation in. Goosedra know about this next Fury, and they've got all 5 members around here. Meanwhile, Miranda's has decided, hey, I would like to get myself 150 gold. But they're teleporting in now, unless they are just deciding to stand absolutely still. They've TP'd in over this side of it as well. Goosedra are trying to take a fight and a big engagement for them. Let's see whether or not they'll notice the Ratatoskr coming in. It's Shinigami who manages to buy everyone's time, and the Gold Fury goes the way of Goosedra. The fight, though, may not be quite so lucky. Let's see if Underscore can punish. Kami, the one who's low right now. Miranda's, though, is also going to fall. Shinigami picks up another one of those. So it's a 1-for-1 and the Fury. Make it 2-for-1. At the very least, but that still feels worth if I'm on Goosedra, especially when Loki feels comfortable stepping up.
I mean, I'd say that is still a good fight for Goosedra. I was hoping a little bit that they'd maybe drop the Fury a little bit earlier and actually fight before Miranda's manages to show up, but then again, it is a rat. As soon as he TP'd in, he went up onto those branches and he was in the fight immediately, so I guess that wouldn't have been quick enough anyway. But then getting the Gold Fury and one return kill at least does mean Goosedra win out on that trade, just barely. So yeah, definitely good fight. I think they could have been a bit more aggressive with it. Actually bait the Gold Fury a little bit more, not coin flip it against this Ratatosker dunking on you. But as long as it's working, I can't complain too much about it.
I gotta agree with you on that one and things. We're looking for that third beacon at this point in time, and that will mean Titans come up. And even so, I still have a question for you. Why has Tedasco got a third item? That third item there, not the starter, the third full item, that's Warlock stuff. That's a stacking item. Why is that in the third item slot? I thought it was going to be E-Stuff, and I've just now realized it's Warlock.
Yeah.
Huh?
That is a bit late, isn't it? You're 21 minutes in, you don't have it stacked. That is curious. I would have liked to see it at least before. I mean, I guess I get it. You get a much better early power spike out of the Spear of Desolation, and then you want to rush the pen as quick as possible, I suppose, because otherwise Horus is just gonna touch you in all the wrong places, and so will the Yorm. But I mean, I think it would have still been worth it to have the Warlocks early, because then you get the 10% pen from that early, as well as Pyro's going down for underscore.
It certainly is, but they knew that Lockie was off split pushing. They did this last game, but underscore were the ones who were fighting for the Fire Giant this time. Meanwhile, they've kind of just taken their foot off of any kind of control here. They just gave up the entirety of the left-hand side for nothing?
Well, I mean for a Pyromancer, right? Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, unless that runic bomb grabs them like the Fire Giant or a tier 2 tower, it ain't doing nothing right now. Hell, sell it for the 33 gold, at least it's something.
I mean, okay, you say that, but the gold is almost even. 2k for Goosedra at 22 minutes isn't the world. Now, as there is a small fight around Beacon, everyone is actually here. Who's gonna win it?
That's alright. Well, Shinigami hiding away as they can, slithering and or burrowing in this situation. Kino gets a big 3-man cataclysm, but the rest of underscore are just too far away to follow up from it. Now, though, let's see whether or not this team comp is able to take down the Ratatosker. They put it low, but he just manages to wiggle away. Bob the Bunny pulled back in by the Dueling Dragons. Just that little bit of CC every so often is all you need, as Calvin does not go in for the ultimate. The rest of the team don't want to try and risk it for any kind of a biscuit. They will give up this beacon, leaving it at, I believe, 2-1, which all in all doesn't feel too bad. Titans coming down the mid lane, though. That one could be scary.
Yeah, I mean, Goosedra recognizing correctly, yeah, we've lost our support there. They are still mostly full HP. That's not a fight we can take anymore. Calvin, I think he wanted to go. I think I felt the energy of, yeah, I really want to dunk on them. They are all stacked together. I just want to do some damage, but the correct choice to not go in. Only Fury pulled. Kino into that here.
It's pulled, and they're going to 50-50 it. Goosedra again grabbed themselves a Fury. I thought that maybe we would see a potential blink ult coming through from Kino there and a bit more follow-up, but instead, underscore hold themselves a little bit more reserved and end up losing themselves the Oni Fury, which will now cause a little bit of problems for these Titans as they walk their way into the mid lane. It's 24.5 minutes in. Is Fire Giant on the table for these teams right now?
I would imagine so. I mean, okay, not in a straight-up 5v5. It's still going to take both teams pretty long to kill that Fire Giant. It's so tanky these days that you can't just kill it. If you've got like a nice double ADC comp and or a basic attack jungler, it goes a lot quicker. But neither of them have. But Shinigami here in the backline looking for some kills.
Looking for it. The Titans duel themselves out. Both solo laners looking to cause some problems into the backline. Shinigami, though, disengaging as the trigger's been pulled from the underscore, looking to try and push further forward. But around the backside of this engagement, Calvin's found some damage onto Tedesco, and that's caused the rest of underscore to turn their attention that way. Calvin has been driven back. The Order Titan has also been driven back. Chaos Titan not exactly much healthier in this situation, but it is still standing, and that's giving Underscore more than enough momentum to keep this fight going. Looking to try and siege this down. There's the blink, there's the cataclysm, there's Loki's health bar gone. Good deal. Means Mr. Miranda's has to try and survive this. They've already taken a stone shield, they can't take much more of this, and they end up falling. Chaos Titan falls back, but it's one member for that mid-tier 2. Underscore got to be feeling comfortable about this. As long as they don't lose something ridiculous like Fire Giant, I'm screaming that was fine.
I definitely agree. I mean, the tier 2 in mid, you lose, but I mean, whatever at this point, really. I mean, not whatever, but it's not that big of a deal. The only reason Loki lives, by the way, is because Shinigami manages to somehow body block the dash on the rapid posture. Otherwise, Loki, that was so well coordinated by Underscore again. You have that blink hold from Kino to force out everything that Loki has, and then you just send out Miranda's through the jungle to come through the backside and hopefully clean up. Really just the... Yeah, not peace of mind. Just Shinigami being there, being able to save his ADC.
Kino!
They can now punch
back try and defend on a Fire Giant. Not a good look for them at this point in time. Kino eats a little more damage than I think they expected coming through there, as Goosedra find themselves up in a kill and up in the engagement. But even so, they don't feel comfortable right now around this Fire Giant. They haven't got the wards for it. They've got the runic bombs if they wanted to try and go for it. And I'm surprised. They've been 50-50ing these Gold Furies. Why not the Fire Giant?
Because the Fire Giant is worth a little bit more than just a Gold Fury, huh? You don't necessarily want to do that.
Where's the fun in that, though? Go on. You got 4v5. You can do that. Just pull it.
I just need to remember what team it was. There was one team, I think, last season that just, for the life of it, did not manage to secure an objective and just always 50-50'd them so awkwardly that they always lost them. I forgot who it was. But yeah, we don't want to see that again. We've had enough of that. It's only funny ones, honestly. News.
But now that does mean that Underscore are able to at least get all 5 members back. We are going to see Miranda's go ahead and push up this mid lane, try and cause a little bit of a nuisance, try and keep some members busy. There are no minions down this way. It is all just to try and pseudo-proxy farm, because Miranda's has got this teleport available to them. It's not fully upgraded, so they'll be TPing into towers. Hello, Blakey. Might want to check your health bar there real quick, but I'm surprised how far they're trying to push up. Because it looks like Underscore want to siege for a Fire Giant here, but no one's pulling it. No one's kind of going in at all.
I mean, now it's a lot harder to as well, because that ultimate, I think, is really important on the side of Underscore. Moran is going to be pushed out by Shinigami again. He's going to go up into the air. Yeah, and he's out. So I can continue talking. Perfect. Because I do think this whole engage, Miranda's dropping down.
He's dropping down, but again, it's all a bait. They know exactly what they're looking for. The rest of the team has gone for the Fire Giant, and I do agree it was a good call, but Shinigami's made their way over here. Bob and Loki were already on the defense here. They've pushed members from Underscore off. They're doing the Fire Giant themselves. Underscore may have just handed Goosedra a free Fire Giant.
Yeah, Miranda's just a little bit, I used that word before, but overzealous. He thinks he can do more than he can in the end. He goes up into the air, which is his get out of jail for free card. But then I think his thinking is, okay, but my team is on fire and I need to keep these 2 people here. And so he does, but dies a lot quicker than he maybe expects to. And then Loki, with the help of his support, is just there on the Fire Giant. And Loki is really hurting at this point.
Oh, no.
And with that, Calvin also running a kill onto Sasuke. I think this is just free right Phoenix, at least.
Could very well be. Kino and Miranda's are back up to help Tedesco on a siege here. But look at Kami. Kami just says, hey, I'm going to be cool. Kami collected. And go ahead and push up that mid lane tier 2. So they'll grab that one. I admit that wasn't the best kind of a pun, but I had to go for the attempt at the very least. Calvin might be inclined to disengage from this one. They'll Aegis. They'll go for a beads, but they will still die nonetheless. And now what was a free right Phoenix is now a full retreat coming through from the team. Miranda's looking to get aggressive into Kami as well. Stone Shield comes through, and it's a weird fight in the mid lane here, and not one that I think Goosedra necessarily feels super comfortable with.
Again, just kind of a lack of communication as Miranda's is still pushed out even further. He's just really set out to be annoying this game. He's recognized, yeah, I've died so many times already, it doesn't matter anymore. I'm just going to be annoying. But yeah, it's really a shame. Gooster really had a free Phoenix, in my opinion, instead to go for the Gold Fury. Blake on the side.
Loki is the target in these engagements. Miranda's cannot 1v1 this guy who's got the Envenom Deathbringer now. I called it, the cheeky crit for the look for him. There's the Sunder. The potential chase down now onto Blakey. Overhead kick will buy him a little bit of time, but nonetheless, they will still end up falling. Can Underscore punish any of this rotation? The answer is not really. So instead, they're going to go ahead and split things back. They don't even feel confident enough going towards the Fury, given the fact that Goosedra have fire.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst call by Underscore. You don't have to risk it. You're already risking a lot with your positioning, especially out of Miranda's, I think. And I'm not sure if this Soul is really going to do as much damage as you would hope her to at this stage in the game. Especially with... I mean, the build is fine. I just don't really like the Bancrofts there. I think you want to have more pen in that slot, probably a Demonic, or what I love on Soul is a Spear of the Magus, honestly. I think that would be a lot better than Bancroft. But yeah, with that, Goosedra just right back on it. Another Fury for them, probably. We've got Loki here. We've got the whole squad here. And they are actually kind of roaming to look for kills. It's still, what, 1 minute on fire? So maybe you could also look for a Phoenix. Though I think you had a much better chance earlier, but then Calvin just kind of got out of position and the communication was just not there. But at this point, I think you just go for Gold Fury and then set up for the next Fire Giant. And get some wards, for God's sake.
They do have 3 runic bombs, so if they just walk in, they'll just burn this down immediately. 2 of them go down. They grab the left side Phoenix, which is big. Miranda's dunks in, but immediately gets turned around on under 100 HP for them to be able to rinse their way back out of this. But Calvin's going up. Calvin's looking for the ult. They find the disapparate target. Good work from the Soul there to be able to disengage from this one, but the damage is done. That Phoenix goes down. Good work from Goosedra. That's what I want to see from these runic bombs. Those runic bombs, it's not a, oh, we can, you know, when we've got minions in, it's no. I dumped 3 of them in. The Phoenix is half health. They're gone. Miranda's is pushing up 3v1 without wards. And he's gone. And goodbye, Miranda. So you had 7 seconds on beads. If only you'd have sold that Chalice of the Healing for some damn wards. It's 33 minutes. All right, I'm getting on a bit of a soapbox here. Thank you. See, look at that.
Wards.
It's 33 minutes into the game. Get rid of your gosh darn chalices. They are not helpful.
We're really close to becoming a not family-friendly channel again, huh? Really, this close.
I'm trying. All right, I'm trying. I'm here thinking this is going to game 3, and I'm trying. All right, underscore Goosedra. It's been a hell of a match seeing the 2 of them here, but with that left side Phoenix down, is that enough pressure for Goosedra to be able to demand attention at Fire Giant?
It should be. I mean, we do see the TP that is up for the Ratatoster, so he could just technically defend left and then TP over. But yeah, you do have to send someone there, which for now is going to be Blakey, as Calvin is trying to look for some damage onto Kino, who is actually half and gone! He's just out of here! The damage is so much. Goosedra just recognizing, yeah, we've got pressure in left. 5 minutes coming in. We see Blakey's there. Gino has no survivability against us now that Loki is here with his damage, and now Blakey's going in.
Again. It's straight up just this Thor and this Jormungandr who are comboing. It's stun into knock up into dead. Now we're gonna see whether or not he can make an attempt at this Fire Giant steal. Instead, backs it away. Second Fire Giant, enhanced this time, goes the way of Goosedra. Left side minions are already enhanced with the Phoenix feathers. Can underscore hold here?
I'm not sure I really like Blakey's decision to just go out there. You were already in a good position where I think no one saw you, unless all those purple wards are actually, well, blue. Because then they knew.
They're blue, yeah. They're sentry wards, yeah. They're blue sentry wards, yeah.
Then it's definitely not the wrong decision to just back out again. That's old. Yeah, that's a very good vision from the side of Goosedra. So I don't mind him backing out at all anymore then. That's fine. You don't have to get yourself killed. I do think he was very close to Loki. He could have probably done some damage there. But it's also fine to play it safe, I guess. It's no problem at all. But yeah, as you can see on the wards place charts as well. Miranda's 2! Bro, I thought you would have learned out of our time teaming together. Come on, my guy. More, please.
Nah. Look,
Why
I'll
was
be
this?
honest. The only 2 wards he has bought were the last 2 wards after he sold his chalice, and I don't know whether or not. Oh, he's placed another one. He's got 3.
Oh,
I
he's
doubt
got
we'll
3.
see. He's
Up
got
in the
3.
world
I
as
wonder
well.
if he'll actually place that last ward by the end of the game. If he gets more than 5, I'll be shocked. But now we're looking
Positively
at potential.
surprised.
Positively is a strong word right now as Phoenix Siege goes down on the right-hand side. How is it on defense here for Underscore? Because we know that they're aggressive with this dive comp, but I want to know how it is on defense as Miranda's ult is used. Goosedra just hold themselves steady.
Now a lot worse. I think there's just passive pressure from Ratatoska being in the air, hovering above you and looking down at you means you can't really push in. But now that that's out of the way, I think besides the Yu Huang, there is no god that I would particularly say is good at holding Phoenixes. You've got decent ranged clear, but Goosedra have an EFG, and you have to send Miranda
This is
to
go
left,
time.
and with that, Underscore
This is go
are at
time.
a disadvantage.
Big work here coming through, but it's already been hurled off. Calvin comes on in from the sidelines. They can't find enough damage. Blakey's getting low, but Blakey is getting out here. One more wave of fire minions to have to be dealt with over on the left-hand side. Health bars are a little too stretched thin now for Underscore. Someone is going to have to buckle, or something is going to have to break here. But Underscore say no, we hold everything.
That means there are now 4 people against Shinigami is going to walk in to re-engage this fight.
It might work out for them. They can just about get the Phoenix if
Blakey.
someone focuses
No.
it. Blakey falls incredibly low. Shinigami's breath will just about finish that one off, but they may pay the iron price here, thanks to some huge damage coming through from Susuke. But it's not good enough. They will disengage and get away with it just for now. But that's another Phoenix gone. Left side comes back up, but right side falls in its place. Miranda's looks to go aggressive in, and their health bar falls low. They are looking to try and keep the fight going, though. The dive is there, but there's no follow-up from the team. There's just not enough damage now.
Calvin is up in the air as well, coming back down right onto Kino, but everyone here on the side of Goosedra is backing out. They know this is a full retreat, and the standoff too means that I think Goosedra's out. Now, but Miranda's coming from the side.
Kami, though, had Aegis, had Beats, but Susuke goes over the top, trading out 1 for 1. Grabs themselves a double. Actually, if they're not careful, they could just lose the game. That mid Phoenix is exposed, so if Goosedra are not careful, they could be answered back on immediately. There is the option of the Oni Fury, which would help over on the right-hand side, dealing with those fire minions, and I have a feeling that might be where Underscore look to try and turn their attention. But even so, Goosedra here finding themselves on the precipice of potentially bringing us to a game 3. With that said, Underscore, though, they don't care about Fury. They're looking for the Phoenix. Instead, they're going to fight 2. So a good bit of defense here as Calvin's got the ult, and it's a disengage now. Will Goosedra chase it? The answer is yes. Calvin looking to go aggressive. Calvin keeping Kino in trouble. Big dueling dragons, but it will not matter. Calvin just about gets away. And Susuke gets taken down by Shinigami. Underscore. I really don't think that Phoenix was worth it, buds. And that's not even hindsight. That's just opinion.
No, that's not opinion, that's fact. You've got 3 of the enemy up. I don't know how they didn't see Shinigami to the right of them, and then they still push for it, knowing there's a Thor as well. No, that's not the play. That is never the play. Even if you have the Soul, which is going to burn towers, you don't have FG, and you only have a wave of 2 archers coming. That's just not the play at all. And now you've lost 2, and that means it's going to be a free fire giant for Goosedra again, who were actually basically losing what they had built up with that previous fire giant through one bad fight where, to be fair, Moranis' stat line does not reflect it, but he really carried that fight by being so annoying, always engaging, getting back out, re-engaging, just keeping it up all the time. But now Shinigami back in the fight, Blakey ulting as well.
Oh, it keeps happening every time. Shinigami has just got too much health to chew through every single time. They are the one leading the charge, and it is always with these tremors just hiding underground and knocking someone straight up and being in the middle of an engagement. It's like a free blink. being able to cause this. And it's 7-1 and 9. It is no surprise that they are just causing too much trouble right now for Underscore. This Fire Giant isn't even being looked at by Underscore. They're just trying to push up wherever they can elsewhere, try and buy themselves some time. That Fire Giant's gone. We are 40 minutes into the game. And at this point in time, it's honestly one fight wins the game. It doesn't matter who. If you get 2 or 3 members leaving a base alone, that's game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just straight up favoring Goosedra. I have also the issue I was talking about at the very beginning of the game about Raven falling off late game. Not only that, I also feel like the build is a bit suboptimal with that one random Pridwin thrown in for good measure. I feel like either you want to commit to the full damage or you actually go Bruiser, so with the Pridwin shield scaling with protections as well, I believe, it's just, in my opinion, not worth to get as a single item. To be fair, the blue glyph will give you a much bigger shield, so there is that, but I feel like it's still worth to just get some more damage there, so you actually have maybe one-shot potential, which, to be fair, the character just doesn't have in the jungle right now. I think at least this late into the game, you just don't one-shot anymore. But you also don't have the safety of a proper bruiser build, which means, yeah, it's tough. It's honestly tough as Goosedra pushing this left Phoenix.
Well, let's see. They should be able to grab that one fairly freely due to the extended range on those bowlers. And also the fact it was a weakened Phoenix. And also the fact it's an enhanced Fire Giant. Calvin is up in the sky and actually jumps back on in. Half health down onto the Soul, who disapparates further away. Mid Phoenix is under duress as well because this is only minions pushing up, and actually it might just be a bait in. Goosedra now for the mid Phoenix looking for it, and Underscore don't have much luck here. That mid Phoenix is gone. Right side is being looked at. Right side has just respawned, and guess what? Right side is going to get knocked down almost immediately. This is the last stand here for Underscore. Titan now the target for Goosedra. If they find a single pick, that could just be it.
Yeah, but Underscore all up, they're all healthy, they all still have their ultimates besides Blakey and Miranda's. Blakey, unfortunately, having to use that defensively as well, but yeah, Goosedra, they know this is probably a bit risky. You want to bait someone out, wait around that corner. Kino opening the door as well might just be the target.
Ooh, careful, Miranda's. Both looking to be aggressive, but this Ratatoska just cannot weather any kind of a storm right now. Still needs one more stack on that prophetic cloak, by the way.
42 minutes.
And it was their first item they finished building. So yeah, this could be a long one here.
It is a long one. We're at 43 minutes. This has gone quite long. And Goosedra are really just waiting for something to happen. But Underscore, they know they kind of need to play it slow. As long as they are 5 up and they don't overstep their bounds, Goosedra is not very favored in this fight just yet. There is no bombs available anymore. 3k pots now coming out for Underscore as well, so it's really difficult, this siege for Goosedra. They can maybe poke the Titan a little bit, but honestly, I don't know if it's that easy. But then again, 5 minutes are gonna come swarming in from all sides now. Underscore are gonna have to deal with those on top of Goosedra, who are still hovering around this Titan, just waiting, fighting that
go time. This is go time. This is just all in on the Titan. Underscore's Titan was the bait, but it's a bait and switch on through. Lucky getting CC chained out. Miranda's finds one, but Kino was the target at this point in time. Titan now needs to be looked at. Goosedra, turn your attention to the game-winning play because you guys are not living. That Titan, though, is also not living. Goosedra, little bit aggressive for kills, but eventually they turn their attention back to the Titan, and look how quickly it melts 44 minutes in.
Yeah, I mean, I was for a second scared because I heard you say all in on the Titan. I was like, yeah, all in on the Titan. And then I see everyone's going on Kino. I'm like,
everyone's going on Kino,
that's the support. No, he's tanky. Don't go on him. But it doesn't matter. They get the pick. And it's, in the end, it's barely enough, but it is enough to propel us into a game 3 here. Goosedra just barely managing to scrape by, at least in the end. I think the mid to late game, they handedly took out of Underscore's hand. Yeah, now I completely lost my train of thought. Jesus, what is happening?
He still ended up on 4! Miranda Sorry. He still ended up on 4. Couldn't even find a 5th ward in there somewhere. Come on!
Yeah, that is a little criminal. I mean, to be fair, I think this is a very big point to how Goosedra was winning this. I mean, look at all those wards that they have. And I mean, it's so simple. Just vision wins games, especially when you are like
Mm.
Miranda's and Blakey, who really want to dive onto this Morgan Le Fay, which they did. There was like a part in the mid game where I was thinking, okay, this is exactly what I thought was going to happen. You have Blakey who can just dunk onto this Morgan Le Fay, then she uses everything she has to survive that, and then you've got a rat just above you who's going to finish you off. But then that never happened again. Then Blakey had to ult out most of the time because he got bursted really hard because he always got locked down by this horrors and the Jormungandr. And then with his build as well, he wasn't really able to do as much damage as he did mid to early game. And then Miranda's was also always a bit poked out in weird positions, and the only time he really had a good fight was when it was a really awkward disengage from Goosedra.
Hmm.
So yeah, what I want to say, well played by Goosedra. They played to their strength a lot more. I think putting Loki on a proper ADC, especially like X-Ball, suits him a lot more. Having a lot more of this easy hard engage and giving Shinigami also something that he's good on, like the Yerm. I think it's just, I mean, quite obviously, it's worked.
It's good. Yeah, it definitely worked out for them. I am a little, upset that we did not see the goose skin for the Jormungandr, given the team name, but nevertheless, I wonder whether or not we'll even be able to be seeing it in the next game. Either Miranda's needs something that is a hell of a lot more pressure than this Ratatoska is, or you just get rid of it and you're playing down without one of those bands. Either way, that is going to be game 2 in the books. We are now in a best of 1 situation. We won't keep you waiting too long. We'll go ahead and get game 3 going as soon as we can. But to do that, we got to go ahead and get to a break. Goosedra win game 2, bringing this best of 3 down to its conclusion in a best of 1. Underscore unfortunately felt more like a footnote in that last game, especially coming through with some of their solo lane side of things. It just could not match up to what Shinigami was bringing. We'll go ahead and get right on in with picks and bans here right now. Fire, and I gotta ask, is Shinigami gonna get to play this same kind of Jormungandr, or do we see it banned? Do you think it has to be picked?
I'd be surprised if he gets it again. He did run the game a little bit with it. But then again, I mean, okay, there is the ban. I also don't think that was the only problem that Underscore had to face there. But yeah, Shinigami definitely had easily the upper hand in that solo lane matchup almost all the time, getting 2 solo kills, I believe. So just banning it out, definitely not the biggest problem. Honestly, I think I have the easiest fix in the world for Underscore's comp. Just switch Raven into solo and get Rat into jungle. It's that simple, honestly.
I'm not gonna lie, I completely agree. I think that the sustained battle works out better for you. You can be more aggressive, you've got more poke potential, it's harder to dive in, you can use the ult to match the Thor ult. And speaking of the Thor ult, Goosedra go back to it, and they are actually thinking of taking Kino's Geb away from them as a pseudo 4th ban.
I don't mind it at all, but yeah, the Ganesh is probably a pick I like more here, especially into Thor as well. He's gonna shut you down real hard, and I think Calvin was actually also a big win condition for at least the early to mid game here. And it goes deeper. Now X-Ball being hovered for Underscore so that Loki cannot take that one either.
They certainly can't. They could always look to try and go to the Freya, but then I have a feeling that Underscore would do something janky like X-Ball Jungle, Bologna, ADC, just to run that comp back against you, and then you've got a Geb Freya, and you don't kind of win that one in any regards. But yeah, like you said, going deeper in onto the God Pool side of things, the question is do Goosedra try and pick up the Freya into the X-Ball Ganesha when you've got a Geb? I don't know if you can afford to do that, but now they're going to go ahead and pick up this Thoth here, which honestly I think's got a really good setup for it. Great long-range CC from the Thor, great long-range CC, great long-range damage to follow it up. What's more to love?
Yeah, I do like it. It's when you lane into this Agni, you always want to look at, okay, can I either fully like commit on him and kill him, or can I outrange him, which is difficult. Agni bombs with the stun make for some really good poke and some really good self setup to do some damage, but Thoth should usually be able to just stay barely out of range and then just poke you back immediately. Going through the second ban phase, the sound of Fenrir. The Fenrir definitely an important ban here into the Thoth and Gab as well, I think. Though actually, no. I feel like you could have left it as a bait pick, because you've got the Gab shield just as something to fall back on if you want to cleanse someone out of Fenrir's jaws.
It's possible, but at the same time, if the Fenrir goes for the Geb, then you can't stone shield yourself to cleanse it. It's a tricky one, and I do agree. But also as well, this Fenrir could go just about anywhere on the map, and if Geb's not following them, then they're in trouble. And like you've said before, with the idea of just making sure that your hyper carry player does not get the potential to run out the game, that is what they're going for, and that's what Underscore have done as well. They've taken the Freya, they've taken the Hachiman. And hi, Ishtar. Last time I was playing Smite for a serious amount of time, you were top pick, top ban material. How have you been? And by that, I mean Spark. Why are we now seeing Ishtar down 4th pick in the second phase of picks and bans?
Look at what Underscore have done. They have recognized, yeah, okay, Loki is the biggest problem on the side of Goosedra, which I would usually agree with. So they have banned out Anher, they have banned out Freya and Hachiman, and then picked the X-Ball away. Yeah, you really have to go deep into your pockets. Yeah, you could have also gone for the Rama. The Ishtar, I think, just does clearing a little bit more safely, because you don't have to stand right in front of the wave. And, I mean, I think actually both Rama and Ishtar could have worked. I'm not so sure if there's really any other ADC I would have liked to see here. But yeah, Ishtar is still same old. It's just that she doesn't do as much damage as she used to, I think, in my opinion. At least it feels like it. And her ultimate also feels always
Okay.
a bit hit or miss, because the damage is mediocre at best, and you are kind of a sitting duck. While you are CC immune, it's a lot of time you spend doing nothing else, you know?
Yeah, I get you on that one. We'll have to see whether or not it's going to be able to play well against the Xbalanque, who honestly is going to just have a fun time in lane with those branching bowlers, the poke damage with the Ganesh as well, just hard clearing the whole lane. I wouldn't be surprised if, again, this lane is very aggressive, but we need solo side and jungle for underscore here, whereas we are looking potentially solo side or jungle here. And oh my goodness, my gracious Mimey, is that a Kuzenbo hover I see?
I was thinking, yeah, okay, Kama has hovered. We've seen him, especially in UD, go to solo, build full damage and carry games. Miranda's has played it before. I can see it. But then Kuzenbo gets picked.
That is
And
Kuzenbo solo, right?
that has to be.
Right?
Ganesh solo, no.
No.
It
It's
has to
actually
be.
solo Ganesh mid.
Okay, now we're talking. Now listen here.
Oh, hello.
It's been some time, however, if you build Spear of the Magus and like a lot of other damage items,
He's
your
got the most
ultimate
damage
kind of
in the
slams.
game. Yeah, but it's only your ultimate at that point, and then half your kit
Yeah.
doesn't do anything, so you're in trouble there. Arposh, though, now, I'm not gonna lie, I used to love running Arposh solo, because you
I
just
love it.
spam out your kit and you heal forever, and it's kinda almost, I tell you what, it feels a lot like the idea of the Ravam, where you just kind of slap up the wave, you slap everything around, and you just heal forever. Chuck, honestly, though, kind of does the exact same thing, so I don't even have to pivot off my point.
I was gonna say, I love the Approach solo. I've played it a couple times before. I just love that feeling of like level 2 running into lane, throwing out all your corpses, eating them, and then being able to just throw everything out again. But it is very matchup dependent. You still need to have some reason to pick it, which is usually anti-heal. And then you are still, it's a little bit shaky. You need to be careful with positioning and get good ults off basically to have impact on the game. And honestly, I would say into Underscore's team right now, it's not that good of a pick. The Chuck, I like a lot more. I am a little bit worried that he could... You have to get all the dashes out of the backliners if you really want to have any impact. And I worry that maybe not difficult. We'll see. It depends on if the Gap and the Thor can get things out before Chog really does his thing.
Question: what if this is all a bait and switch and it's Thor solo, and then it's Chuck jungle?
I mean, that's cool, but Chog jungle kind of sucks.
Yeah, okay, I know it kind of sucks, but look, I'm going to be perfectly honest here. When you've got Nike jungles running around in the game and making things annoying as hell, why not just Chuck jungle? At least it feels cooler.
I mean, you do want to go damage on him a little bit at least, so I can see it, yeah. Your early game damage is going to be good as well. You could have some very good gank potential once you are level 5, but Thor's gank potential level 5 is so much better. No, why are we even entertaining this though? No, it's not going to happen, bro.
It might happen, you don't know, because Thor could still gank level 5, he just rotates really early. It would be insane to do it, but I've seen insaner things.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of what you want to do when you are Thor. You kind of just want to be like, yeah, okay, I have global pressure now, let me just, like, hop over to mid lane and maybe get a kill, and you are looking at an Agni once that Agni has used his dash, or if you can actually catch him by surprise and wall him off properly, that is 3 kills. So, that is definitely, there is worse things you could do for sure.
There certainly are, but talking about the jungle side of things and the pressure at level 5, Camazot's jungle. This is not really one that we've seen a whole lot. I've seen it played by the sort of the Rapios, we've seen Adapting sort of pick this up. It's very, very volatile in the sense that either you are diving the backline 100 to 0ing people with your ult, or you are ulting out and hoping that they can't catch you when you dash all 3 times away.
It's just a very mechanically dependent god. Either you hit your 2 lines or you don't, and that's really, I think, all there is to this character. Either you hit all your damage and are able to safely ult out, or just safely finish a kill off with your ultimate, or you kind of don't. Then again, I think Camazots shouldn't have too hard of a time diving here. I feel like, okay, Gab is going to be a bit annoying for you, but neither Chark nor Thor is going to be effectively peeling you off anyone. So I think he's got a decent enough time for diving. But then again, it still depends on if you hit everything. That's really all there is. Either you hit it or you don't.
To be fair, I mean, that goes for... That's one of those things with every god. If you hit every single ability and you avoid every single ability of any god, every god's going to look absolutely OP. But as a whole then on the comp, you look at Underscore, they've gone from this hyper dive comp to now a bit more traditional, where it's like, okay, maybe the jungler and the solo dive and everyone else falls back. Whereas on the other side of things, Goosedra are the ones now potentially looking for that dive with the Thor and the Thoth range and the Chark. Like, I'm looking at Goosedra and going, you guys have gone for the dive comp.
Yeah, it feels like Underscore is finally taking Goosedra a bit more serious. I feel like game 1 was like, okay, we have a really funny strat to go up against this Freya, and it's worked. And then game 2, they were like, okay, I mean, we can still pick suboptimal things and build them suboptimally, and it's going to be fine. And Goosedra was like, yeah, I mean, no. We're here now, we're full roster, and we've got good picks, and we play what we like to play. And now Underscore is like, okay, yeah, we recognize that we have to take things away, we have to take the Yerm away, we don't want to let Loki free cast on X-Ball or get him on really other good ADCs. So yeah, Underscore going back to this very traditional comp, also Agni in mid, which used to be a really good, a pick that Blakey used to run a lot in mid, even though he's not in mid now. I think for me this shows that Underscore are like a lot more, okay, we recognize what you're doing and we have to counter it. Also with the Ganesh into the Thor, I think that's also another respect pick really, because they've recognized, yeah, Calvin did actually kind of pop off on the Thor at times, so we need to do something about it, and that means we're picking Ganesh, we're taking X-Ball away, we're taking more of a traditional comp, because we feel like we actually kind of have to take this serious now.
Well, let's see whether or not they do take it seriously. This is a best of one. This is it. Either you go big or you go home here in this best of 3 final game. And you pick a Kuzenbo solo for it against a Chark here for Shinigami. It's a Blink start as well. That's very cheeky. I'm going to be honest. When Kuzenbo first came out and you blinked 3 people into your tower... Oh, that was cheeky and fun, but towers are a bit further away now. So I'm already concerned.
Now, the one thing I want to keep an eye on this start, Nene Kappa and the minion, or the jungle minion aggro is really wonky. So if we are unlucky, some of these minions are just going to run away after Nene Kappa has died. So I want to see what happens here, because it's really annoying. You gotta get this Nene far away, everything's dying, and nothing's walking away. Okay, well done.
Oh, no! Oh, that was very awkwardly placed there. But he gets the right buff. He gets the right buff. You know what would be cool is if the Nene Kappa could pick up a buff, and then the next one you throw out gets like a mini version of that buff. That could be cool. Could you imagine that? Pets
get God designer, man.
No, that's the new thing. Pets get the added get a mini version of the buff that you have if you have any. Speed buff or red buff or green buff. Give me it. I want it.
I'll do it with a small ring around him. That would be kind of funny, yeah. But yeah, this is what I expected out of the dual lane. Yeah. No, but Loki getting easy pressure in lane here. We did say maybe with the Ganesh this should go out the other way, but the clear from Ishtar is still far superior. And with that, it's for the first time actually, Loki that has the upper hand in those level 2 engagements here.
Very true, and they've gone for this again. Gilded arrow start, so those basic attacks and the imbued arrows are doing so much damage there. 20 extra basic attack damage plus like what? It's like an extra like 10 or so damage, I think, like level 1 or so on those branching, and it's AoE. It's kind of gross.
You do clear really nicely, which has kind of been lost on this wave now. But Blakey's here again. This time not for a gank. Oh yeah, Morana's ganked again. Calvin coming here every single game for kills, and Morana seems to have not learned. This is a crazy concept. I know it's a bit early for that as well, but have you ever heard of warding your solo lane?
I have. Have
You
you heard of
have?
the fact that... Here's the problem. I need the health pots and multi-pots at the start of the game, because otherwise I'll die.
No, level 2, I totally agree. Level 2, it's just a cringe
Yeah.
gank from this jungler, and you kind of don't do anything about it. If you get ganked, you get ganked. But after that, Calvin did show up a lot more often in solo lane as well, which, in my opinion, means you should get some wards in that solo lane. But yeah, no, the level 2 gank is just cringe. Unfortunately, it works, but yeah, what can I say?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, any jungle gank is cringe because it's a jungler, and therefore everything they do is inherently cringe.
I can see that.
That's just how that works. Now I gotta ask the next question. Talking about cringe, I see a conduit gem, I see a spellbook. Does Tadasso go for the cringe build on Agni?
He does.
I'm not gonna lie, I think that Agni's actually might be the best person to proc it, because his passive would proc. If I'm thinking it right, his passive, all 3 Agni bombs would individually proc it.
No, listen. What I found out the other day, which was crazy to me, Merlin passive also procs all the proc items.
Yeah, it's nuts.
So like, that's where it really
great.
goes crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
it's pretty gross. It is pretty gross. Also, Calvin, I don't know if it was intentional or whether he got spooked, but decided to just pick up the actual buff. And unlike this from Goosedra, or specifically from Calvin, Calvin went over, got Shinigami ahead because Mirandus is behind. Mirandus has a blink, and so it's going to be rough for them to start. Then they go, "Hey, Loki, you're doing all right. How about you be even better in that situation?"
Yeah.
It's these small little things. If the rest of the team can capitalize on it, Calvin's job early could carry them through, because that's always been a sticking point for me. Calvin does amazing early game, and then late game, it's kind of on the rest of the team. If Calvin's early game is ridiculously good, maybe you don't need to worry about the super late game.
No, that's true. I think, I mean, his rotations are a bit, they're always the same, so you could actually prepare for them. But this time it worked out a lot better than in game 1, I think, as Blakey is pushed up at Calvin as well. Double tap not hitting, like he is out for now. But yeah, he's done basically the same thing he did game 1, is he goes to solo lane and then he tries to get his ADC ahead by invading, which didn't quite work out early game as he was collapsed on, but this time was perfectly done. He just gets the buff, gets back out, gets a kill in solo, and with that his team is well on their way to already having a 1k gold lead, 1.5 actually. That's crazy for 5 minutes. If they can just keep this going, if Shinigami can keep pushing up Miranda's, which he has been able to do 2 levels already, it's looking good for the side of Goosedra, which do have to get a bit more active early. I feel like, though their late game should also be alright, Thoth is just the most typical artillery mage that you have, right? So he's always going to hurt. You do still have Loki as well on Ishtar, which is going to hurt, and have amazing poke. So yeah, I think Goosedra are looking quite strong and quite good in this game right now.
And look at Calvin making a small rotation over this way, but instead just looking to try and get out some wards. Not looking to be too aggressive. There's not anything up for them right now. But Mirandus is already under half health at this point. Calvin, though, doesn't feel like they need to commit the ult. Instead, just keeping an eye on things. But this is all time they're not farming. So instead, they need to pull the trigger now or never. And in the meantime, I'm just going to ask you about Shinigami. Frostbound Hammer. I've heard from Fine OK, like, you build this because it's absolutely incredible. Why is this incredible right now?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I haven't really played it in solo yet. I have heard the same thing as you from Fine OK videos and stuff, that it's supposedly broken and that just everyone builds it from Deathwalker streams as well. I'm honestly not quite sure why. Maybe it's the money for value that you get. Or value for money, rather. As it is still a very cheap item, I think. You get some power from it, right? Some health, and a passive that we all thought was, well, garbage compared to the old Frostbound, but apparently not. So, yeah, I mean, especially for Chark, who wants some more damage as well, I think this is a good pick, as Blakey's trying to invade on his own now.
He might be able to grab it. He grabs the ultimate. He does not get the buff, but unfortunately costs his ultimate in exchange for Bob's ult, which is... okay, it does nerf out some teamfight potential here, but even so, I already think there was going to be a whole lot this early on. Both these teams, like you said, scale well into the late game, so they want to get to that late game stage. Calvin, though, looking to get aggressive in the mid lane. Off the mark with the CC, which is just a little unfortunate there. But they were looking at, that's the thing, is Calvin is looking at this and saying, hey, everyone is looking at whether or not he is in trouble. What if I just ult the back line from halfway across the map? I love this kind of early gameplay from him. The game needs a little work, though.
The aim does need a little work. The idea was definitely perfect. Also, when you can already see on the map how much warding Goosedra are just doing, and they have so many deep wards as well. Calvin was warding really deep, like along the line of the enemy blue buff and red buff, allowing him to invade speed buffs and the like on the enemy side of the map. It's really, really nicely done by him and his team to just get the vision and are able to push out their lead like that. We are now at a 2k gold lead already, only by that he is able to invade and get his team ahead like that. Yeah, vision wins games, kids, by wards. That's all I have to say really on the matter. It's just Goosedra warding and it's winning them the early game.
Look at where exactly they're warding. It's all the pathing in the jungle that Calvin is taking. As you all around the right hand side, it's into the area to get in for a gank if they want to go on Miranda's. It's where they were stood the entire time that they were waiting to try and gank into mid lane. It's a great look, and for me, warding is always this idea of the intention of where you want to walk safely. Right now, Underscore don't really want to walk into the jungle by the looks of it. And if they do, then it ain't going to be safe. Because now Calvin over this right-hand side has made the rotation. So it is a 2v2. But it's not the 2 you'd expect right now. The jungle buff goes down as Agri makes a rotation in. Tedesco does put out a little bit of damage. Unfortunately, it's all too little too late right now. Shinigami's ult secures the buff. I'll go ahead and grab that as... Again, it's just that small little increments, it seems, right now.
Oh, Blakey in trouble now. He's half. He will have to go up in the air, but that means he is out. This one, no Calvin in the air, actually.
Oh, he doesn't quite land it in time. And so that will instead potentially mean some turnaround for Shinigami here. There is a rotation through from the Geb, and that should shut down all the fun and games because Geb Shield just tells everyone to sod off, potentially.
It really does.
I mean, it's 600 health early. How do you deal with that?
I think the answer is you don't, and as we saw, Miranda was like, yeah, I don't, and left. Definitely the right choice. Shinigami here with the TP back in, meaning he can defend his own blue buff, which Kino has altered for some reason, but that means he's alone in no man's land. I think that means he's going to be dying for it here. No way in hell. Miranda's also just like, yeah, I mean, I don't know, why should I help there? And same going for
How do you help
Blakey. Yeah, no, exactly, you don't. There is nothing you can do about it, and Blakey was also gone at that point. Meaning, Goosedra building a really comfortable lead. Jesus, 10 minutes, no neutral objectives going down yet, and we have a 2.5k gold lead. Mostly, I think, out of the solo lane. Which, to be fair, Miranda's probably doesn't need that much gold, does he?
I mean, it is the solo lane, and if this Chark just gets to start walking out and playing the same way they did last game, it pretty much was Shinigami's zoning that caused all of the problems.
Bye, Miranda's. I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry about that. I'm looking at the sorry state in the solo lane there. You can't do that. Come on, Miranda's. You can't walk up like that. There is disrespect and then complete lack of self-control when it came to pushing up that. And I'm concerned at what we saw there. But off of that point here, it is 10 minutes in. It is 0-3. Underscore now turning their attention towards the duo lane. Gold Fury potentially on the table if Goosedra could want to look that way. So Underscore have to recognize this. But Loki's already making rotations. Loki's got the full executioner. I'm kind of concerned if Goosedra realize just how powerful they are right now, they could just run away with this.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the right thing. Gotta turn your attention to where there is actually some objectives on the map, and that is currently just Gold Fury. So now looking to get your lead in the ADC that you already have, but to maybe extend it then, or to push someone out, or to get a pick optimally so that you can then convert it into a Gold Fury is definitely what you're supposed to do now. You got your solo laner is so much ahead that should be an easy rotation for beacon fights, or if you really need it for Gold Fury fights as well, and he's gonna absolutely demolish anyone in Underscore's backline. And that should mean that Goosedra have honestly a free pass into extending their lead here. Looking around Gold Fury now, it's a small fight around
Oh,
These
hang
oracles.
on. That was the dash. That was the Agni dash. And now that's Agni beads pulled off from this. So Underscore find themselves in a bit of an awkward spot. The beacon has now spawned up. So a bit of a scuffle is going that way. Agni, though, leading off some good CC here. The follow-up's just not there. Final judgment off the mark. Even if it had hit, Blakey would have been at 1 HP. Thor is up. And they're looking for the follow-up. There's some big CC chains going down. The health bars as low as they are. Tedasco is the only one who can step in to try and stop anyone coming through. You're going to see though, Sasuke makes the rotation. Bob low. Bob's stone shield might be enough to save them here. They will be able to disengage. But finally, the beacon is going in Underscore's way.
Kind of hate this from Goosedra. Loki just not matching the rotation, even though it was a winning fight for his team until Sasuke just shows up. Also, I've noticed this a few times now across the Thor games. Calvin needs to use his wall so much sooner than he does. He always dunks and then immediately spins and then just waits for another like 2 seconds until he walls.
Yeah.
And just here again, if he just walls as soon as Blakey is jumping and landing his jump, you get a kill because then you have the wall and you still have the double tap available.
Right.
And then you get a free beacon. So it's just these small mechanical misplays that do actually lead to you losing a bit of your lead here. And yeah, just not allowing your team to get even more ahead, which would have been honestly huge. If you could imagine you get that kill onto Blakey, not only could you go for a beacon, or you get the beacon for free basically, but also with Loki maybe rotating a bit earlier than he did, you could have even gone for a Gold Fury. It's honestly such a small detail, but I feel like that could have really just blown this game wide open for Goosedra.
It's one of those micro-affecting the macro situations. A Shinigami looking to try and tear down this tier 1 tower, but you cannot be this disrespectful. The CC chain is just too strong at this point in time. Blakey picks up Shinigami. That is a huge shutdown potential there. That is a level 15. However, with all the ire focused over there, Goosedra are trying to make up for it with a Gold Fury attempt. Those Dharmic Pillars will not be doing any damage to that Gold Fury, so instead only helping them with a little bit of extra protection shred. So instead it's Underscore going for the Pyromancer over on the right-hand side. And going back on that point of micro affecting the macro, we'll go that in a sec, as Kami now under some duress, but gets some support from the support, and that's more than enough. Great wall there coming through. That's the kind of wall you want to see. That is not the final judgment you want to see, but use it or lose it. They'll lose it at this point in time. Trying to keep this game tied to even. It is slowly slipping to Goosedra every second, and every minute is just that little bit extra.
Yeah. Underscore just perfectly recognizing, Goosedra are on that Gold Fury. Honestly, we will not get there in time, nor be able to defend it, so let's just try to fall Pyromancer. It's perfectly done. Now they get a mid-tier 1 as well, which means they just even up a little bit. Actually, I think the advance that Goosedra had is now starting to stop. You can see on the graphs they are both going flat or actually back to the even state, which means Goosedra, they really have to start pushing it again. Also, Calvin, while he has gotten these really good early ganks and he really got his team ahead, now he is kind of lost the farming battle, which is weird because he was invading so much as well, but now for some reason he's just lost so much farm. Probably when he was hovering around solo for so long, I would imagine, that Blakey could actually do some real damage now into Goosedra's backline. And he's looking for it. He's right there, and they want to corner camp a bit.
Well, they're going to go for it again. Same build, different gods this time for Blakey's. Third time they're going for this. I'm not sure it's been working out for them. Calvin's up. Calvin's down into the backline. Great wall separates the path there from the Agni, and Tedesco will end up falling. Bob's the one who finds credit for the kill. Loki will beads and get a stone seal.
Didn't need to beads.
I know I didn't need the beads, but nonetheless, better to use it or lose it. As Bob now, once again, still sticking around just for some safety if it's needed. It's the rest of the team fighting here. The beacon not even up yet, but like that was the Calvin wall you wanted. It's almost like they're listening to the comps. If they are listening to the comps,
shame on you. Don't do it.
You're supposed to be playing the game. Go away. That's cheating. Stop cheating. That's cheating. Don't be doing that. Go away. But yeah, like it is literally the case of in wall follow up from
Yes,
everything, because it's
exactly.
a weird thing. Your brain goes, well, they're stunned already, so if I wait till the stun ends, then I stun them again, then it's great. But you don't want that. It's like when the Morrigan came out, the idea where people were like, oh, if I won then two, I get the bonus damage. It's great. It's like, yeah, but you can't hit the two because they know where you are and they're gonna hit you. So two then one, stun into damage, always stun into damage. And that is that same thing. Stun into stun. The rest of the team is there. You are not a one-man army, Calvin. And that last fight showed exactly that mentality of just, I do not have to be the only one here. I need to set up stuns for my Thoth. And that is all they need to do, because Kami now has a lot of pen online and a lot of cooldown. So the ult's already back up.
It's not just that it's a stun, it's also the wall is just such an obstruction. If you can place that correctly, Agni is just never really going to get out with his dash. But that means we do now have the second beacon of the game. Blakey already half to the left side as he has to back out again.
Whoa, look at that health bar just melt at this point. Calvin's up, acting as a little eye in the sky. Isn't going to matter there with that Darkest of Nights, in fact. Calvin almost acting as a radio signal to avoid it. Completely new to the point of it. We are seeing rotations from the solo laners, but guess what? Goosedra now, I believe that's their second one, and I think it actually went their way as well. So that is now 2-0 on that Stygian beacon buff, and now it's noticeable.
And not only the beacon, they are now here for the Pyromancer as well. Shinigami, he can just zone as much as he wants. No, never mind, not as much as he wants.
Can he? I don't think he can zone quite as much as he wants. Now we're going to see the Watery Grave, but unfortunately no one is digging it very deep. Calvin might be in trouble. Calvin will end up falling down. Bob's very far forward and gets ohmed out of the dash. We'll have that stone shield just to buy them a little bit of extra health to get through. But now Loki is getting CC'd back into the rest of the team. But no one's paying attention to Kami, who's trying to pelt it back. But thankfully, they are able to find it in time. I was worried if that fight keeps going, Kami was going to come away with a big multi-kill.
This is just a game one experience now. Underscore just so much better in team fights because Goosedra are just so awkwardly positioned. Sometimes Shinigami just overestimating himself again in this fight. His prophetic not stacked as much as you would like it to be, meaning he does get bursted a lot quicker than he wants to. And then Shark does not really have that much safety outside of his ultimate. Sure, you get like what 80% mids in your ultimate, but you don't really have any mobility that you can honestly use to get out. So once you're in, and we saw just that with Shinigami dropping to just the whole of Underscore, which they then managed to just push further because the Pyromancer was just not down yet. And that means honestly his Pyromancer was just kind of not worth it. Honestly, Underscore pulling it back so hard. Goosedra losing almost all of their elite here. They're back to 1.5k. That's nothing. They used to be at like 4k, I think, at some point.
They certainly did. And now all of this kind of a comp, it feels like it is a situation where it's like, I need to see it firing. We have not seen Kami's final judgment hit. I don't think ever.
Once.
And there
I have last fight on the tier 2. He did hit it. But it just didn't matter anymore.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. I've seen, like, it does a lot of damage. That is the railgun that this entire team comp is built and bolstered around. Sure, Loki's going to do good damage. It's an ADC. Spoiler alert, they're always going to do good damage. They hold left click. That's how they work. But big burst damage, it matters. As much as I hate the mid lane. And this is the cringe thing. And why I hate mid laners. The whole thing I mentioned in like game 1 where all mid laners are cringe. It's because when you can fire one ability and it rips through 2/3 of 3 members' health bars, you make more of an impact than any solo laner is going to do in the entire game.
You see, as someone that has played almost all roles, that's not always the case. It can feel just like that for every role in the game. Like, you feel like you are like mid laners so useless. I mean, sure, I agree with the build that Tedesco is going for. It's cringe, it works, but like, come on, man, you don't have to be like that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the burst damage I think is really important, especially when you look at how Blakey wants to play this, especially the Kamazots as well. It's just you want to go in, you want to get some burst damage off as the Kama, and then back off into your ultimate. So realistically, like that steady type of damage that maybe Loki is providing is probably not going to stop Blakey at all. However, if you have this almost one-shot potential ability in the Thothold, that is a completely different story. You can completely shut down his Camazotz if you can just hit your burst damage. And that is gonna completely hamper, I think, most of the backline pressure that Underscore have. Because yeah, Miranda's can do things, though it's mostly annoying, and if he's being ignored for the most part, I think he's not gonna be that impactful. The same going for Ganesh. Very much a peel-focused god here, especially when you're playing into the Thor. You want to be with your backline. You want to be able to ohm all the damage from the Thor once you dunks. So really, I think it's about if Blakey can get his damage off before he gets bursted by Kami, or if he can just get CC'd enough for Loki to do some damage. But if there is no CC for this Kama, it is really on Kami's shoulders to get that.
It kind of goes back to what I was saying in Picks and Bans. Either this Camazotz just hold that thought, blink in, Cataclysm, finds 2, gets speeds and pushes everyone back. Goosedra, though, not really in a position to follow that one up. Now Mirandus is trying to punt out Shinigami, who gets themselves trapped in the Bug Zapper. Final Judgment used very early and again wide on the mark. Thankfully, the Hieroglyphic Assault is doing a good chunk of damage at this point, and now we're going to see whether or not this Bat Out of Hell will be going straight down to hell. No, disengages off of this fight, and now it's actually Miranda's trying to poke this. This feels like a poke ball that neither side wants to disengage from fully. Both sides end up a bit battered and a bit bruised, but they're only really fighting over a Pyromancer.
Well, Shinigami doesn't have more sustain, and Underscore, they know this, so they back off as Shinigami just pushes forward. Pyromancer pulled. Tedesco without a beats has to be careful, but so does Shinigami, pushed into the wall. Sasuke not quite there yet.
Not quite. Pyromancer is secured. Shinigami zoning, but not owning at this point in time. Getting owned at this point in time. Out with the Sunder is good. Meanwhile, Blakey round the back was able to find something to sustain off of and picks up some good damage. Meanwhile, though, Loki dashing in aggressively, finds 2 members. It's a good look, and now it's on to whether or not Blakey or Loki are going to be more impactful here. Shinigami trying to disengage, trying to wiggle, find a Duke. Oh, the blink! That's actually incredible! They might be able to turn this around! They're just going to keep on finding targets for them, and they find it evaded and then punished. Kami answers that one back. And Mirandus, you are not going to kill in a 2v1.
Shinigami just has the wiggles, and then the blink. A lot of damage into Kami as he's pushed through wave, but it's not enough. Miranda's the only one here. 4 down on the side of Underscore. And that means Goosedra is right back where they left off with their lead in this game. Kami and Loki, the backliners of Goosedra, just turning it all around and really allowing the team to get back into it. Miranda's doesn't want to give it up, but let's be real here. Come on, you're not doing anything about this. We can.
The Nene will stop it. The Nene will save. And the Nene's dead. Never mind. The Nene is gone.
Send the army! Oh no, it's dead.
Send the reinforcements. Oh no, they're gone too. To be fair, there wasn't any reinforcements in that situation.
No,
but now with Goosedra, they're 25 minutes in. They're about 4,000 gold up. They were in this kind of position last game with coming in directly onto with the Titans coming in. So it's kind of, again, one of those now or never situations. Tedesco's build is coming online, and Kami's build is pretty much there as well, both now finishing out a Soul Reaver. I want to see one of these ults hit from CC and the comp actually do what it's meant to do.
Yes. I mean,
I'm hoping on it, but to be fair, he's doing damn well, because the Hieroglyphic Assaults, it's the fact that Kami is being ignored for me that I can't understand. True. How do you ignore a Thoth?
He is able to just stand in the backline and free cast. I think that is very noticeable. Now, actually, what I didn't really think about, he should be able to also enhance his damage on the Fire Giant so much because of his literal wall. But then again, Goosedra know they have to fight this before they can go for a fight.
Oh my goodness. Kino steps up and gets put down in the ground. Now Calvin looking to go up, see if he can't dive in onto the backline. Loki is the target. Loki gets taken down. Calvin dunks in, looking to find Sasuke. Finds them, puts them about half. Kami is being ignored again. And look what happens. Kami is ignored, and you lose your backline Xbalanque. Then evade and punish back out, and it becomes a 1 for 2.
Maybe all this focus that was put on Loki was misguided as Blakey now low as well, having to blink out. And the chase for Goosedra is just onto the Desco and to Kino. Not Kino, Miranda's.
He's going for it. They're looking for it. They're still chasing this down. They could go towards the Fire Giant if they felt so inclined. But they would rather get more kills. They know they've got the damage potential for it with Kami. And with the Titans here, there's actually a potential for even further siege. Calvin's clearing out the Order side one. So potential tier 2 being looked at. I still think they could go for fire here.
Without Loki, I think that's going to be really difficult. Even though Kami does have some decent damage, I don't think he's really going to be able to burn this Fire Giant quick enough. And with 4 up from Underscore as well, I think that would be very risky. So just pushing it a bit further, as they are actually going at fire now. Just warding it, right? Yeah, just warding it, backing. Definitely the right call, I think. You could have maybe gone for a Gold Fury after this fight if you had backed off a little bit sooner, as you got 2 kills. But this is fine, setting up a fire, stancing on Pyromancer to push your lead just a little bit further. I don't mind at all. Loki is now back as well. But yeah, I think it's interesting. I think Underscore put so much thought into, okay, how can we put Loki down, that they completely forgot that he still has a team.
Oh, goodness gracious me, Kuzenbo. More like Kuzen no health at this point in time. Shinigami looking to get aggressive and follow up from further range. Meanwhile, the fight is so split from Underscore that their front line may as well be a back line for itself. Kino ends up falling, trying to peel for this bat out of hell. Coming through from the Kamazots. Thor is still up, waiting to downcon down. Can't find it. Shinigami tanks at the tier 1 tower. Health bars are low, but there are still 5 health bars for Goosedra. 4 for Underscore, and with the tier 1 tower gone, this has to be fire. Come on, guys, go. You're just gonna back instead? Bob actually lazy backing? What is going on, guys? Come on, you just...
His team is there, though. They can still fight. No, Loki is the one frontlining again. That's not good at all.
Not great. Miranda's tries to blink on around the backside, throws up the spike shells and the thorns, so no one bothers fighting them, and they are annoying. But Shinigami, thanks to a great stone shield, avoids the sumo slam. Absolutely Bob there. That is all Bob's peel.
It really is. Now, it is a bit unfortunate. I would have liked to see, as you said as well, Goose try to turn around and try to get something out of this kill onto Kino. Kino's just always a bit out of position and dying a lot quicker than he thinks he will, probably. Meanwhile, Blakey really is the only one able to properly dive the backline of Goosedra, and it just never seems to quite work out. But then after that, Underscore just manages to be so annoying and to always catch someone being lazy, leading to Goosedra not turning this into anything. No Fire Giant, no Gold Fury either they could have easily gone for. But now it's Fire Giant Dance. Miranda's very far up. Kami and Loki, they're both here.
Okay, well, Bob takes a little bit of damage for a ward. About a third of their health bar gone. We'll need to find something to go ahead and heal that all up off of. But it is going to be Enhanced Fire Giant to start this Fire Giant dance now. So that is at least something. Bob is actually back. I wonder if anyone from Underscore has noticed. If they would, they'd be pushing up. But alas, I don't think they quite know. So now it's just a little bit of a poke war here at this Fire Giant.
And you can see Underscore only really have defensive wards. Those are good, but you do want to go a bit deeper with that. But then again, Goosedra also counter-warding in their own jungle a lot while they are pushing out to get some more aggressive wards. And that means they have the upper hand in this fight. Loki always the first one to walk in, and this time he doesn't take too much damage for it as a start the fight.
Well, Shinigami, though, however, eats about half of their health in damage, just trying to walk forward and follow Loki. Not quite so healthy there, but at least it is the one who has the heal in their kit who's tanking the damage. But even so, Miranda's is the lead at this point in time for Underscore. And at least Miranda's is involved in this. There's the Blink Sumo Slam, grabs beads. Everyone else from Goosedra backs on out away from the Dharmic Pillars. Shinigami puts 2 into some trouble, but alas, they are just way too low. The rest of the backline is there, a little split from the wall. But Loki finds Miranda's because no one's paying attention to the damage dealers. It's not all about the low health bars, it's about whose health bar it is.
Just really well played by Shinigami, barely able to be to stay alive there, and then teleporting out to his axe so far away that just no one of the real damage dealers on the side of Underscore can really follow up. But the front line was still so engaged in that fight that they were like, nah, we have to go for this, we can go for it. But then it was so split that Gooster was just able to easily pick off the front line of Underscore, easily killing Moranis on that. Kuzenbo, thank you.
Yeah.
And then as well Blakey, because he's still the one, almost only one that's able to dive here, but it's just not enough. Especially if Shinigami doesn't die when he is being as obnoxious as he is, and then able to get out as well that far, that is really, really troublesome. And yeah, just very much a free EFG for the whole of Goosedra here.
Pretty impressive look for them now, and they find themselves in the pole position. They're up 7,000 gold. They're up a full fire giant. There's a gold fury they can look at if they want, but there's still what, 1,500, it's 4,500 gold to be picked away at over on the towers. They could they even be sieging for phoenixes here?
I mean, it's EFG, right? They do have 2 bombs. Oh, no, wait, that's on Underscore side. No, that is also on Goosedra's side.
No, they all have 2
bombs. They could definitely go for it. I think if Underscore is not careful, those Phoenixes could drop a lot quicker than they think. First off, though, another Gold Fury for Goostra. I don't think you need it at this point, but, I mean, looking at the support builds, they still have a way to go, so I think this is fine. I'm also fine with them just getting tier 2 towers for now. That means you have a significant gold lead, probably maybe get some 3k buffs, as we do see Xpal is going to be split pushing a lot. But yeah, I think actually with Xpal that far off, if you are quick, you can probably push this.
Yeah, I think you're going for it. Yeah, you go for it. There's the blink on in from Bob, immediately followed by blink on in by Shinigami.
Yes,
they're pushing members low. This Phoenix, though, isn't being looked at. Calvin finds Desco around the back. Loki ends up falling to the Kamazots, but now that Phoenix is already gone. The damage done. You didn't even get the tier 2 tower. As long as members from Goostra can get away, they should still be fine. It's a 1-for-1, but a Phoenix in tow is not a bad look for Goostra. They've kicked open the door, and they're knocking on the window now.
It's a shame to lose your ADC there, but that is a trade I am totally fine with. You wait 14 more seconds, then you can still push tier 2 towers, but Underscore, they don't want to let up just yet. Kino walled out, Blakey pushing around the side, but honestly, with the EFG and with Kami pumping as much damage as he does, yeah, I think you just give it up and try to defend at the next Phoenix here.
Could be rough though, and I love the fact that Goosedra recognize it. They just, and the best part is the fact, I want to mention, Bob starts rollout, and everyone's like, oh, he's gonna roll out in. He cancels rollout, blink ults. That's just, that is the exact definition of the sucker punch, you steal your purse and run away. Exactly that. I love that. Thank you, Bob, for making me look smart. Thank you.
Feels good, don't it? Yeah.
It do. Is that what chair 2s are like? Damn. Yeah. I should be a chair 2.
You should be a chair 2. It's nice down here. Nice.
Yeah, I started as a chair 2.
Did you? I've always been a chair 1. I'm usually play-by-play. But it's fine.
Interesting.
I don't mind analyzing a little bit, though I don't feel particularly smart sometimes when I analyze, but you know, that's just how it goes.
I'm gonna let you in on the secret of chair 2. Whatever you say is right, as long as you say it confidently enough.
Okay, that just goes for everything in life, don't it? Be confident about it.
It does. It's my old science professor from 6th form. If unsure, sound confident.
Yeah.
That was it. And it is, and Goosedra right now on unsure, and they are confident right now. They're just going to march on into this tier 2 tower. There is no way for Underscore to go ahead and hold the defense here, so they will happily just swat that one away. It's a little bit more gold in the pocket. We have broken the 10,000 gold and shattered into almost 11,000. I thought, and then I did the maths, and it's actually only still 10,000, but hey, we have broken the 10,000.
Well, you've been looking into the future. Look, there's a Pyromancer going down now. It's going to be 11k. Trust. You're right. Don't worry about it.
All right. I'm just setting the stage for more analysis for you, because I got to ask, what do Underscore do on a defense here?
It's honestly quite difficult, because for once, I think the build that Tedesco is going for is just not working. He's still top player damage for his team, but I feel like especially his bombs on the enemy front line just doesn't do as much as you want it to do. And I think it shows. Shinigami should be dying a lot quicker than he is, but he just doesn't take that much damage, and he doesn't even particularly have that much magical defense. But with the build that Tedesco is just going, yeah, you're survivable. Yeah, you still do decent damage because you've got like these two big proc items. But it's just not enough. I feel like Shinigami should be dying a lot more than he is for the positions that he's finding himself in. And with that, it's gonna be a bit more difficult. Kino is so behind on his build as well, he's never really gonna be able to step up that much. Sure, Blakey might be able to get like 1 or 2 backliners or 1v1s in the backline that he can win. But I feel like Goosedra is just... They're always deathballing a bit too much for that to happen consistently. Now Tedesco having to defend left again, that means 4v5 for Goosedra. That should be a good fire giant for them.
It certainly should be, and it's not even like they could have Miranda step up or try and clear out that wave. You're a Guardian without the option to teleport in, and you are a Guardian whose health bar is so low you may very well be going. Calvin, though, looks to try and peel for the backline. Bat out of hell away. Health bar's low for Underscore. They are not getting back in on this fight, and Goosedra are taking no chances. They push everyone out, and they say, that's far enough. We can now go back to Fire Giant. And even then, they are still CCing out Kino to make sure that there is no way in, no way out. But keep an eye on the Camazots. He might find a way in. And that health bar on Fire Giant is a little lower than I think they'd like. No way they steal it. No way Underscore get it. But they do grab 1 for 1 in the end. And actually, with the health bars as low as they are, Underscore need to make a stand here, or they could very well lose the pressure. Sasuke, though, falls to Shinigami, and some great CC coming through from Calvin.
Just for a second, I was really worried. I saw, oh no, Loki and Kami both half HP, and Underscore, they're pushing for it. Oh no, this could spell trouble. But no, it doesn't. There's just so much CC, and Loki managing to stay alive with that Aegis as well. Honestly, Blakey should have died a lot earlier, but a heroism proc saved his life so hard.
Yeah, it was pretty damn good.
Yeah, heroism is just such an annoying item to play into. I genuinely kind of hate it.
It is gross.
I mean, you're like, okay, all right, it's easy, bro. I've got hard CC. It's no problem at all. I just like hit him, and then it's like, okay, they suddenly have twice as much HP as before. Where is the shield coming from? That's not fair.
And then you break through that shield, and then the Geb applies another shield.
Oh god, don't even talk about it. I didn't even realize Geb also had heroism.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. It is.
No wonder no one's dying.
Yeah, but that is at this point in Goosedra's favor. They've been playing this sort of poke wall long range, and honestly, when you've got 2 carries who are known for being absolutely fantastic at long range poke. Yeah. No wonder it's working out for them. I think Goosedra have finally they are playing exactly like the Hydra. They get a head chopped off, 2 more grow. They have overcome, they've adapted, they are learning as these games go on.
No, they really are. They're playing really well with it. Loki's still going for the same build he did before, but it's just working. And also, I think this game, though, Kami is really the one to look out for. And as you said, he's just been able to free cast for most of the game. Loki is always putting himself into precarious positions, but that means Kami just is never gone on. Loki trying to frontline a bit so that his mid laner can free cast, and it's working. We see this Thoth topping the player charts easily, being able to just, shoot so much damage over walls, across multiple enemies. Even if he doesn't hit every ultimate, it's still enough. Calvin up in the yellow, and this means the siege to this.
It could very well be that siege, and it might be the end whether or not they go for it. No minions in, and Calvin does not have... Actually, does not use the ult in the end. Excuse us. We got a little bit of gun-ho there. But Goosedra are playing this slowly. They've got a 4-1 split here. And every time I think, oh, that's a bit of CC, there's that heroism proc. Yeah. And it's just causing so many problems here. Calvin, though, the Magi's revenge as well could be causing some trouble. This is the do or die. Underscore push back Loki, and they force the ultimate out as well. Bob, though, is very low as well. They need to find some way in. They've already got the Phoenix, which is at least what they came here for. And Calvin on the retreat as well. That is, again, the left side Phoenix. But Underscore are holding here, and they're holding well.
not quite as clean as you wanted. That Phoenix Siege Blakey able to live. Tedesco putting out some good damage as Bob the Bunnies just caught out a little bit. As Miranda's honestly did an amazing job of just CCing the whole backline there of Goosedra and especially pushing out Loki, meaning that it took a lot longer than you wanted it to, which made it a lot more awkward and split. But in the end, the Phoenix still goes down, and Goosedra are still 5-man strong. Bob is going to come from base, but you know, for this tier 2, he's also not very much needed.
Indeed, and I like the fact that Goosedra are trying to, you know, dot every I, cross every T. They're not leaving anything up that they, you know, like they're gonna take some time to heal back up. Okay, do we sit at mid lane and stare at a Phoenix while we do that, or do we go get a tier 2 tower? Do the more proactive thing. If nothing else, it means that now they're gonna back up, they're gonna buy up, and by the looks of the fact that the Fire Giant's fallen off, I think they're gonna set up for a third Fire Giant here.
Not only the tier 2, they also get another free bomb for themselves that will help on those next Phoenix Sieges. I do agree. I think it's just going to be another Fire Giant. That is honestly probably going to look exactly the same as the last one. Left Phoenix down, which means someone from Underscore's side has to defend, which means Goosedra notice, okay, it's a 5v4, meaning we can either push, get a kill, push them out, and then get Fire Giant, or just straight up go for Fire Giant and force Underscore to move. It's just really a tough position for Underscore to beat him. Always losing that left Phoenix in particular is just so rough to defend. And with Tedesco never really being in those fights now, it means, yeah, Goosedra really have just free reign over basically the whole right side jungle as they set up with their wards for this next Fire Giant, exactly as they should.
I like this from Underscore. They recognize they can't afford to just let another Fire Giant go for free. So this time, you've got Blakey pushing up the mid lane, looking to try and be a little proactive and prophylactic if they lose this Fire Giant. But it also as well gives them a little bit more space. They've said, okay, left side is going to let minions in. Our Titan is going to take a little bit of damage. But if it takes a little bit of damage and they don't get Fire Giant, we are fine. Now, all 5 members in a poke war.
I wonder if no one's gonna leave, because I feel like Underscore is gonna send someone back. Blakey in the backline, stunned out.
Oh no!
He's dead!
Absolutely beautiful. Not a ward in sight for him, but just pure line of sight. There's a big line damage goes through. Mirandus is TKO'd in this engagement. Blink forward from the Geb, looking to try and chase everyone down. Has the ult available. Will they use it? Yes, they will. It's just on Sasuke here, who gets the Aegis used here. And now, though, they're just finding single members from Underscore, and that might very well be it. 2 members down for 45 seconds at a minimum. Calvin retreats to make sure that they're safe. And while Goosedra could potentially go in for the end, they want to make absolutely certain. I don't mind it this time, but I think that that could be signs of things to come. If they're not able to pull a win in that last situation, they have to go for Fire Giant, I have some concerns. But another enhanced Fire Giant, they've still got a 4v5 for the next 30 seconds or so.
I mean, I always like those Hail Mary ended plays that are very interesting to watch, but I think this is definitely a safe bet. You go for EFG, you get some more Phoenixes down, maybe even some kills. Tedesco is pushed out here.
Oh my goodness, Tedesco is pushed out, Sasuke is pushed out by a final judgment. Right side Phoenix goes down, left side Phoenix has respawned. And just like in game 2, it ends up going, but Bob is way too low to feel comfortable here. And Goosedra now, they're backing themselves up. I don't know if they're trying to set up for an Oni Fury and do it that way, but this is very telling. Every time they take a big engagement, they always back it up. They never try and step further forward. And while that is safe, there is a difference between not throwing and not winning the game.
I do
if that makes
agree
any sense.
with you. I know, I think it makes sense, but I think this one is still fine. The Oni Fury is definitely going to help you, like Oni Fire minions on the other side of the map while you've sieged this half HP Phoenix and left, I think is big. You just do everything to split up this Underscore team as much as you can to then take favorable fights. I think this is still fine. Yeah, your sieges could probably be cleaner, I think. You don't have to lose that much HP when you're Bob. You can probably force a lot more when you're Calvin by just being in the air and being menacing and looking at them. But this is fine, I think. You want to play it safe. Rather do it like this than really throw it away. But then, again, underscore now, they have all 5 here, and all Goosedra have to do is wait. That's what it's going to be. Blakey, half, and he has to back over it, and that means Goosedra, they can push for this Phoenix, I think.
And that's what they're going to do. Bob goes in. They dash on through. Both members go deep into the backline. Calvin is up. The Phoenix is still standing right now, but it is gone in a matter of seconds. 2 basic attacks also as Shinigami forces away Sasuke. And that could be all she wrote here. Sasuke gets back to base to play a little bit of defense as Goosedra try and push on through, but Kino's gone. Loki takes the credit for it, and Bob's at half health. So this now might be the point. Either you're going for a Titan or you're going for the second Phoenix. You have all the health bars. You got to be careful, though. That was a lot of stunned members there coming through from Tedasco. But Calvin cleans it up. Blakey falls. 2 members down again. You have got to try and go for this next Phoenix push. As only fire minions and an only wave have pushed in, you are getting all 3 Phoenixes. Shinigami backing. They have the teleport to come on through. There is a defense potion now available for them as well. This is it. This is where the game is ending. Underscore need a miracle defense here, but Goosedra say you had your chance in game 1. You played us well, but we are taking games 2 and 3. We are going to the finals, and we are going to try and take down Underworld. Goosedra win 2-1.
Man, I did not see this coming at all. Goosedra really dropping down early into the losers bracket against Circadian Rhythm. Then just 2-0ing their way into these semifinals, or well, I guess losers bracket finals, and into Underscore favorite throughout the whole season, basically next to Underworld. And then Goosedra, after a very shaky performance in game 1 from, I think, almost all sides, but then turning it around so massively in game 2. With Loki just carrying Loki and Shinigami really in game 2 carrying their team to victory. And then this third game that just also looked so good for most of the stages, dropping the ball a little bit in that mid game where Underscore managed to pull it back, but then just pushing so hard towards the end, playing it so consciously and safe. I think you were talking about the fact that you think it was a bit too safe and too slow, but I think it was just right. If you play it more safe than that, I agree. Then it's gonna be a bit like, okay, you're just missing and wasting your chances. But it's also like you don't have to always force something. You don't always have to really risk those game states where if you lose one fight really massively, you have lost a game. And there was no need to do that. This last game was the deciding factor if you go to finals or not. So just play it safe. You've got things on the map that will make it significantly easier for you to find those Phoenixes, to find those kills, and in the end to find that Titan. So I think Goosedra is really playing well into their strength, really dethroning Underscore in the team fights, where Underscore had these really amazing team fights in game 1 and game 2, honestly, too. Goosedra just coming back swinging in game 3.
And they've been punching up the entire time. They were the first team, or one of the first teams to make it down into the losers bracket, and they are now the only team to climb their way out of it. Congratulations to Goosedra, who are going through to the finals for those 6,000 gem prize. They were at the very least coming away with 4,000, which is pretty impressive. But commiserations are needed here for Underscore. They put up a hell of a performance across all 3 games here. But that is all 3 games for today here, and that is going to do it here for this broadcast. Thank you very much to everyone who has shown out to watch. Thank you as well to my chair, to Spark. It has been an absolute pleasure. And thank you to Cabbage, whom without we would have no broadcast at all. So from all of us here, I've been Supersonic Blur. You lot have been a fantastic audience, and we hope to see you all next time.